That's.
There you go.
Was recording?
Yeah.
We are recording. Welcome, everyone. Sorry for starting late. My name is Pat Moore. I'm the chair of the Quality of Life Committee for CB1. My co-chair is not here. We have our chair, our entire CB1 is Tammy Meltzer. She's here. Councilmember Marte is here. We have Zach, I'm doing it again. So sorry. Who is the district manager. Yes, I got it. So the first item on our agenda, which I'm sure everyone is here for, is DSS and DHS. We're going to talk about the shelter, proposed shelter at 320 Pearl Street. Chris, where are you? Where'd you go? Did you get up? Would you get up and introduce or have everyone with you introduce themselves? Would you introduce yourself and have everyone introduce?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at the Department of Social Services.
You gotta slide your chair kind of over so we can have you.
The co-chair is here now.
Yeah. Would you like you guys slide over and then?
Can y'all slide, I know, right? It's like that old, like, nurse. Said,
Are you finished with that? Now, please come and grab some water over here. Committee, please make sure you slide in.
Thank you.
I'll try that again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at the Department of Social Services, Department of Homeless Services. With me, and I'll let my staff introduce themselves. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jamar Hooks. I'm Deputy Commissioner of Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs at DSS. Good afternoon. I'm Jamar Hooks, Deputy Commissioner of Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs at DHS.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tracy DePaul, Manhattan Borough Director for Intergovernmental Legislative Affairs, DSS, DHS.
We're also joined by the provider, Breaking Ground, Erin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Madden. I'm the Vice President of Programs at Breaking Ground, and I did bring along some colleagues as well. They can introduce themselves back there.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Heather Fry.
Would you stand up, please?
Hi, I'm Heather Fry. I'm Deputy Vice President of Programs overseeing our campus and housing portfolio.
Hi, I'm Amy Costa, Filipino at Breaking Ground.
And I'm Patrick Bump, Assistant Vice President for Communications at Breaking Ground.
Welcome, everyone. So before we proceed, as you know very well, the community and Community Board One are totally and completely, and our councilmen were completely opposed to this item. Enough said, go.
We understand. And we're hoping we have a short presentation. We're hoping that we can preemptively answer some questions that have come up. And obviously there's going to be questions that will be here.
Can you sit down? We're having difficulty hearing.
What was that?
We're having difficulty seeing, so we asked them to sit.
So just wanted to start off with the first slide, just to set kind of a general foundation here. The site at, I just pressed this button. The site at Pearl Street is going to be a safe haven. And safe havens are transitional housing facilities that are designed to be low barrier, specifically to offer housing opportunities for people experiencing street homelessness to have options that who might be on the whole, maybe a little bit resistant to going through the full intake process. And so these sites are usually smaller, and what agency has tried to do over time is place as many of these sites in areas that that have high demographic and high instances of street homeless activity. So see the little picture of the site right there. We'll go on to the next one.
Which site is that?
That is our Western Safely Town.
Where?
at Andrews Safe Haven.
We don't know names, you need to give us street addresses, please.
It's on the Bowery.
What?
It's on the Bowery. Thank you.
And let's remember, addresses are protected by social service law, so we're gonna, and I know everybody knows the address of this facility, but we're going to refer to it by either the facility, South Haven, Safe Haven, or, just to make sure that we're abiding by social service law. So so the next slide really outlines what our process is when it comes to managing and the street homeless population. By mistake. So DHS works with a variety of contracted providers to do street outreach across the city. That street outreach is done in a variety of ways. It's sending teams out to canvass different areas that are known to the agency or to the providers. It's also getting information that we receive from 311 calls and responding to that information. So these contracted providers work directly with the agency to make sure that we are trying to address any instances of street homelessness in real time. And what happens with those street providers is that they go out and try to offer services to those specific folks that they are encountering on the street. This is the population that is generally somewhat resistant to shelter and service opportunities. So a lot of times it takes multiple touches, is how we refer to it, with each of these clients to get them to a place where they might feel comfortable coming inside. The low barrier Safe Haven offers that opportunity to get folks housed as quickly as possible. Just wanted to highlight a couple of demographics here. Currently below 14th Street, we have 400 clients currently on caseload right now. So that's folks that are, that we have relationships with and that we are hoping and intending to provide, temporary housing opportunities, in, the area that they call home. And that's, that's Lower Manhattan, that's below 14th Street. As you see, there's highlighted a couple of hotspots, which I'm sure everybody in this room knows. The Industry Kitchen area under the piers is a hotspot. The transit centers are a huge hotspot, specifically the end of line subway stations. So we have 2 end of lines in this district. One of them is the Fulton Transit Center, the E-Train, and the other is the Staten Island Ferry. And so wanted to also just highlight the last, number, which really shows all of the 2860 unique individuals engaged in the past year, just within the subway system. So that's a lot of activity. And I think, again, because this neighborhood has expanded and changed, and there's all these new transit centers, there has been an upsurge in street homeless activity here. We'll move on to the next slide. And Erin, did you want to do this one?
Sure. So there's lots of different ways to articulate the need for a safe haven in a community. The graph on the far left, that shows 311 calls in this area for street homeless activity. That is calls made by you, the public, requesting assistance for people experiencing street homelessness. The middle graph is through our Homeless Assistance Fund program. We have a privately funded, Breaking Ground has a privately funded outreach team through the partnership with New York City, where we are providing an additional layer of street outreach in Lower Manhattan. And that is a map of the calls we received through that partnership. And the far right is overlaying both of those together. You can see a tremendous amount of people of homeless activity in this area. And these are all people experiencing street homelessness, people you pass on the street every day. And this is just to articulate the need in one area. Breaking Ground has been providing street outreach services as well as Safe Haven since 2007. And what we know is that people who are experiencing street homeless are just as tied to their community as other residents. They want to stay in their community and where their social support network is. And that's why it's critical to provide safe havens where people are experiencing street homelessness. I can speak a little bit about this, what we are calling the South Strand Safe Haven. As with all of our safe havens, we have 24-hour security at the front door, in addition to CCTV cameras throughout the building, as well as the surrounding sort of facade. We will also have 24-hour residential aid staff that provide supervision to the residents. We also will have clinical staff that includes social workers, case managers, housing specialists, harm reduction specialists, as well as on-site psychiatry. We also provide things like medication monitoring for people who are taking medication to help them self-administer their medication. We provide 3 meals a day, and our job as a safe haven is to help keep people inside. The thing about street homelessness, most of our clients have on average been sleeping outside for 8 years or more. Street homelessness is a chronic homelessness issue, and the only way to solve it is through safe havens because it provides a way for them to come inside. These folks have already voted with their feet not to use the shelter system for lots of different reasons. And we are meant to be a place where they want to stay. We do things like gardening projects. We have music, we have art therapy. We have one staff who's a certified yoga teacher, and so we'll do chair yoga for people. We are constantly looking for opportunities to incorporate them into the community and provide them with opportunities, both therapeutic and recreational activities inside the program. So as I talked about before, we have residential aides who are on site 24/7. They walk up and down the building throughout the day to monitor our clients, address anyone who may be in need. We also will do what we call community rounds. We'll walk around the community to see if our clients are out in the community and need support, or encourage them to come back to the facility if they don't look well. We do have a courtyard space. There is a patio and a backyard space. Where we have private outdoor space, we do like to use that for our clients. We understand that there are privacy concerns. We already have met to sort of address what options we have to increase the privacy, including putting up semi-permanent screen protectors or, other sort of coverings so that we can ensure the privacy of both our tenants as well as the school. We would also want to work continuously with the school to hear from them about if that is working, if we need to adjust. Yeah.
You kind of covered a couple of these things. So, just to be, as transparent as possible, we have met with
Please.
we have met with the representatives of the Peckslip School, and we've toured the school to see exactly, what the concerns are. There was concerns raised about visibility between the school and the actual building. Breaking Ground has agreed to frost the windows so that it will limit visibility into the safe haven site. When it comes to that courtyard space,
Yep.
We're going to figure out what is an appropriate covering that DOB would allow. But the idea is that, and I've seen it firsthand, that we'll do what we can to mitigate the view inside that courtyard space.
Are you going to? Windows need to open in any residential bedroom. So in a way, it doesn't make a difference if they're frosted. That's only works when the windows are closed.
So
the
windows
wiring
are
stuff-
only allowed to open a very small, limited amount. And so I think it's only like 2 or 4 inches or something like that. So the windows actually already have window guards on them. Most hotels already have them too. So the windows only open a very, very small amount that would not allow any visibility.
I'm sorry, how much longer is this presentation?
Couple of minutes.
Okay.
So the other piece that we wanted to highlight in our discussions with the school is we understand that there are key moments during the day when the kids are lining up and when they're discharged. And I mean, you want to take this one?
So we always work with our community. So Breaking Ground does have experience of working with safe havens that are located near schools. And we partner with those schools to address, school drop off, dismissal, early dismissal, whether it's, lunch hours or recess or things like that. We have done things to work with the school principals to ensure that we have a Breaking Ground presence physically outside at those times. And we would adjust that based on the school calendar. It's about constant communication and hearing their feedback of what we can continually do to improve both the community as well as the programming for our tenants. And just so you guys know, it's for both men and women. We have vulnerable clients inside our facility. Safety is paramount for all of us as well as our staff. We do so many things around working with our clients and working with our staff to ensure the safety of everybody in the building and when they leave the building. Security doesn't stop just right at the front door for us.
So
So-
that is PS 150, because I only see.
No,
No.
You can't
No,
talk.
Sorry.
Renee goes first.
So what we can guess, I'm sure these questions are gonna come up, but, Breaking Ground has worked in similar type situations.
It is,
Um,
Chris,
You
I know
gotta
what-
let me get it out. I understand your point. You gotta let me get it out
they're
there.
trying to make it as a symmetry, but it is not symmetry
But I
at
have to,
all.
I have to be able to make the point.
You make your point, but it's not relevant, you know that. It's
Make a
not,
point and then we'll make
it's
it.
apples and oranges.
Right.
Understood. So,
Keep going, I apologize.
You knew what you were facing when you.
I don't know, I get it.
Okay,
yep,
okay.
And so why don't we can just finish up with the timeline. The expectation is that we will, open the site for clients, in, Q1 of next year. I think we're open for questions, right?
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. I will reiterate once again, we are completely opposed to the siting of the safe haven. We are not opposed to safe havens in our community, but this siting is inappropriate. We have stated that from the beginning. I don't know, what else we can say. It's made it complete, obviously. It's a done deal. So we were not,
No,
go ahead.
is the contract signed? Because as of the summer, when we went on break, the contract was not signed. So I would like to officially ask, has the contract been signed?
So the contract has not been. Our process is, once a developer and a provider comes to the agency through our RFP process, that package is evaluated and then an award is made to that provider developer team. Once that award is made, that's when the notice goes out to the community. At this point, from now until Q1 of next year, the provider is working with our contracts division and our capacity division to negotiate a contract and get a budget approved. There's a couple of steps that need to.
So if it's not approved, then why, if we're opposed to the site, why, Jason, give me a second. If we're opposed to the site, why are you guys gonna insist that this is where you're gonna put the safe haven?
For this type of shelter. As we've said before, and we've
Please be
said
quiet.
it many times, the school itself has shown its willingness to help the homeless. Many of the schools in our district have tons of migrant children at this point. And we have a very supportive system and pipeline to serve that community. What I didn't see in the slides here, among the notation of how many homeless we have we solved homeless children in New York City? We said, we understand a safe haven isn't appropriate, but a shelter with kids would be appropriate. Whatever age kids, it came back varieties from other arguments that it wasn't possible. It could be possible. You need to explain to the public why it's not, or a different type of shelter, right? You don't need to have full cooking facilities for adult women or women with babies, right? And there have been shelters in the city that were done during the COVID years in hotels that were for, not in the Manhattan, but I know in the boroughs. So our question back to you is, I'm delighted that Slate and Breaking Ground, they're longtime buds. That's great. Slate also does affordable housing. We had hoped that they would do affordable housing, which is desperate in our area. You talk about 400 homeless. I talk about losing over 2,000 units of affordable housing just in this area. So when you're talking about adding to the homelessness, try it's because we don't have affordable housing and people keep getting thrown out. Right? So there's a link here.
Okay, quiet, quiet.
All right.
I appreciate you agree, but quiet.
Really, that's okay. I'm with her. I don't need to hear why 400 people who are the most vulnerable need to be, because we have a shelter that's opening at 105 that will help take some of that off.
Right near the migrant.
Please be
Stop.
quiet.
Stop. So for this location, the community needs to understand, and there's nothing that the DOE can do. They're underfunded. They don't have enough, there's no crossing guards. They don't have enough security people. DOE is underfunded. So unless you're telling me that Breaking Ground is going to fully fund extra teams inside the school, because if the school was going there after the shelter was open, the school would have been constructed slightly differently. And you wouldn't have an entrance and exit by the front door. We would have worked with, SCA to look at different opportunities because you had the outdoor thing. We would have advocated, when we advocated to get that school open, for a different thing. Now you're coming in and telling us it's the perfect location, but according to your map, the areas of 311 reporting actually didn't include Pearl Street. If you take a look at the map that you sent us, there was not a hotspot there. All the hotspots of where it is,
We're on the piers. And the piers are.
Pearl
closer.
Street.
not on Pearl Street,
Okay.
around where you're citing it.
And the area that we were focused on was below 14th Street. And so that's what,
That's not our local community. If you're talking about 400, 14th Street is that is.
two community
I'll
boards.
give you-
Okay.
Not okay.
It's a very far away. Just need DHS because Breaking Ground is selling. That's their contract that they're selling with Slate to the city. I need the city to tell me why it can't be something else and why the contract can't be modified. I mean, they've made whatever they want. They never came to the community in advance. I'm sure they had a funny feeling that this wouldn't go over well attached to a school. But again, you've never been in Breaking Ground attached to a school. It does not count to be across the street from the back of a playground when you took over an existing shelter that had been there for decades. It's not the same thing at all. That was always there. It was there for decades. It's the behind a playground, behind a building. It's not attached.
With the doors.
So
on the
I need to hear from DHS. We've already said we're against it. Why the contract is not signed. Where can we go with that before? Because that's the main question the community wants to know. Why can't there be change with this?
So I think, first of all, we are addressing a need that's in the community. That's why we gave those demographic numbers. And
We have
so,
that address need that's not even open yet. When is that opening?
well, understand the capacity of the Washington Street site will not cover the entire need of the community. And so
That's
we
fair.
need to address the capacity needs of Lower Manhattan. And that involves evaluating sites that are brought to us and what they can be. This site in particular really is I know you've made the point that you want families with children. The design specs for families with children would not work at this site.
Single women.
Yeah,
Single.
why can't be single women?
Veterans. So
Better. Yeah, sorry.
So at this point, we are, again, working with the demographics that.
There are single homeless. Why can't we do single women or
Elderly
I mean, we worked with, BVSJ, right? Which were Black Vets for Social Justice during COVID. They were amazing partners with the community. No offense to you, amazing partners with the community.
And one thing on this, you're setting the geographic region. You're choosing south of 14th Street. And from south of 14th Street, you're saying there aren't other demographics that can come to this location. How about expanding it to 59th Street, the borough of Manhattan? I'm sure if you told a single woman or a woman with a baby that they can move to the seaport near a really great school, they would say yes immediately. Why not change the range of your target area?
If you just want to say this facility will accommodate both genders, there will be single women at the
We're-
site.
we're-
There will be.
No. We're asking,
Only.
we're not talking safe haven model. We're talking shelter model, not safe haven.
Right.
It's a very large difference. I appreciate you're selling your contract, but I'm asking DHS to answer us back why. If you're talking about the homeless, there are other safe havens south of 14th Street. I have sat in this room on Thursday mornings, hearing all the other shelters opening up in other community boards. We did not argue and understand that every community board, and that's a city mandate, will have a safe haven. Okay, we're trying to work with the city and work with that. That one's not even open yet. And this is one that's completely inappropriately cited. Why not put, there is a need for a single person's, not safe haven, but regular shelter to get people on their feet to be able to get to affordable housing.
And I also want to know why, if the community is completely opposed to this siting, why are you, not you, but why is the agency insisting that this be that model or that there be a shelter there at all? I don't understand. If a community totally opposes, we're not saying we're opposed to safe havens, we're not saying we're opposed to shelters. We're opposed to this siting of this particular shelter.
Right, in this
Why?
location.
Why?
The same community that's in support of the other
Right, exactly.
as opposed to
To
this.
this one. So why is there a need? Be quiet so we can, you, the public.
Same community board who voted on that, sorry.
Said better in that. We did oppose Beekman Street, to be clear.
I want to speak. Son of
I
a
saw you
World War
couldn't
II veteran, okay? He got nothing his whole life. These guys are getting to live in a fancy, zip code. It's crazy. Okay. Let's let the room speak on this one. We
No,
have-
not yet.
Hold on. We have a big meeting at the end of the month where we're gonna do a lot of yapping, all the same faces. I live in this neighborhood. I see a lot of faces of people that lived in this neighborhood. You guys are on the left side. Hold on, let me speak. Let me speak. A lot of parents here. I got 2 kids at soccer. It's gonna be a late night. We should be brief at the table on this thing, and I think we should hear the community on this. I know they're working hard behind the scenes.
Then let's
They have
run
great
my
things to say.
meeting.
I'm not gonna say anything else, but please, let's move it along.
Okay.
No, no, hands down. Peggy from the PTA.
I'm speaking on behalf of. I'm just
Please,
speaking on
yeah,
behalf of my-
stand up, please, Peggy.
Sorry, the PTA, I'm not speaking on.
here as well.
Someone from the PTA is here that's gonna speak on behalf of the PTA. I'm speaking on behalf of me. too.
Both of you come up.
So, yeah.
Yes.
The PTA is first, and then after the PTA and Peggy is Anthony. So we have a queue, and then we'll.
So just tell us who you are.
I'm Deborah Rogel.
I'm Amy
Are
Walker.
you gonna be here at the full board meeting? We're gonna spend 4 hours talking about.
Just so you know.
Ask me that.
John and Jason, quiet, please. John, don't.
I'm trying to run an orderly meeting so we can get out of here. You talk about wanting to get out of here and not be here all night. Stop it.
PTA,
Go ahead.
welcome.
We're the co-presidents of the PECSLA PTA. So we just prepared a statement on behalf of the PTA at PEC. I'm going to read it, forgive me. We represent a diverse body of students and families. We serve 400 students ages 3 to 11 years old. We're a tight-knit school with a strong sense of community. Last year, as someone already mentioned, Tammy mentioned, we welcomed numerous children of migrants seeking shelter in our city, and that experience made our school stronger. We are supportive of shelters and safe havens in our community. We recognize there are many vulnerable New Yorkers who deserve shelter, but we are shocked and disappointed by the choice to open at this location. 320 Pearl Street is attached to our school. The entrance to the proposed facility is 5 feet from a door that is used daily at both drop-off and pickup by our youngest students. Given the extreme proximity to the school and to the elementary school in general, this is an inappropriate and unprecedented location for this type of facility. The concerns of our families include a proposed outdoor smoking area that abuts the school, the frequent use of the entrance to 320 Pearl by those experiencing mental health and substance abuse issues, and the fact that we have only one school safety agent who is positioned at the front door around the corner. Most importantly, we understand that drug use is prohibited inside the facility. The families at our school would like to know how the Safe Haven facility can ensure that our smallest students, who who I would know are also vulnerable New Yorkers deserving of safety, will not witness an increased level of drug paraphernalia or use. Moreover, and importantly, we are deeply disappointed by your own lack of engagement with our community. Not only did the city wait until school was ending in June to announce these plans, a transparent ploy to not just avoid but ignore our community, but questions that have been brought to you both by the community and elected officials since remain unanswered. The lack of notice and lack of engagement with our community for many months is deeply concerning, disrespectful, and it's alarming. We, the PTA, believe that if a shelter must open in that location, it should be a family shelter. We come to you with a question. What is being done to ensure the security and safety of the entrance, particularly around drug use outside, not inside, outside? And how will this be handled, not just when the shelter opens, but moving forward? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, lady.
Not opening.
So, Peggy? No, I don't want an answer. We want to know why they're insisting that we go
Yeah,
there.
why can't we answer that question?
What,
Can they answer that
the
question?
security?
No, why they're insisting
Why?
on them.
Question,
Let's
why?
let Peggy speak and then we'll go back.
Okay, so I brought photos thinking you didn't know the exact location of where the shelter is. But I saw it in your presentation, and so worst case scenario was thinking that maybe they don't know, maybe they don't realize it's actually attached to a school.
That was it at the last meeting.
Yeah, but I mean, this is
Show
the shelter, I
picture,
know, I mean, best case scenario, what's worse is the fact that they know and they're still moving ahead with it. So that's what concerns me the most. I thought maybe they don't know. This, just for visual, if you can see, this is the
Why don't
entrance
you
to the
come over here
shelter.
with it?
I think I might have it.
Come around.
All
I
right?
emailed it.
Let them see it up close.
Yeah, hold it. This is the, right here. This is the shelter entrance. These are where pre-K students as young as 3 years old line up. This is the entrance to the shelter. How are you gonna avoid this? Going to the main entrance, you have older kids. So this is from pre-K to first grade, 3 to 6 year olds going to this entrance because the other entrance has 250 kids ages 7 to 11 going through the front door, running upstairs in the morning. They need their own entrance for safety reasons. How are you going to mitigate this concern? But not only that, here, there is a play street right in front of the school that kids have their recess. It's 55 feet from the entrance to the school. So these are the concerns we have with regards to the safety of our children, but there's something else that I want to bring up. I received some data from NYPD. And this is just data pertaining to breaking ground safe haven facilities. 6 breaking ground safe haven facilities in New York City. In the past 9 months, so year to date, there has been 1,356 arrests within 1,000 feet of these breaking ground shelters. 43% of these arrests are concealed. The government is sealing, are sealed. The government is sealing almost half of the arrests that happen within 1,000 feet of these breaking ground safe haven facilities. And this is just out of 6 in the whole city. This is not all shelter data. It is the 6 breaking ground facilities. The top arrest, assault. That's
Peggy, do you know for a fact that the people that were arrested were residents of Breaking Grounds?
We don't
shelter?
have that data. It's within 1,000 feet, but
So-
there are, they
I
did
hate-
confirm, they are residents. They couldn't give me the exact numbers.
Okay.
And many of them are concealed. But out of this data, there are residents for a fact included in this data. Okay, so there's assault. It's 3rd degree assault, 2nd degree, and 1st degree assault. Next is robbery and theft robbery, which actually uses physical force.
You have a minute left.
And selling and possession of controlled substances. Not too far down that list is endangering child welfare. What are you doing to keep our children safe? There are almost 400 children in the school, ages 3 to 11, that expect to be safe and be taken care of every single day. Parents expect to take their kids to school and have a safe day. They don't need to be worrying about their children. So I want to know what you're doing to keep our children safe.
We'll get to the answers after. Let Anthony speak.
Anthony.
Hi, my name is Anthony Hannigan.
So there's a lot of information I feel is missing from your presentation. I think that it was spun well, just exactly to sell your contract. You stated that safe haven shelters are supposed to be smaller than standard shelters, but in fact, 106 beds is particularly large for a safe haven. Most safe havens are not that large, including the other one opening on Washington Street. Per Breaking Ground's guidelines, your average stay is supposed to be 6 months before a tenant moves on. That means your 106 is really going to be over 200 different people, transient people moving through the shelter, statistically which many of whom will suffer from substance abuse, drug addiction, undiagnosed mental illnesses, and untreated mental illnesses. You yourself said they are resistant to treatment. So if you have someone who's coming in addicted to substances, not receiving treatment for mental illnesses, coming in and out of an entrance that's 5 feet, 10 feet away from where 3-year-olds are, what do you expect? To answer the question of like, what are you going to do to ensure the safety of the children? The answer is you can't. These are people who are unpredictable. You are, DSS, your priority is not going to be the school. Your priority is opening the shelter, and your priority is keeping the residents and staff within your building safe. You have 6 security officers. They're going to be busy inside your building. They're not going to be patrolling our recess area. And even if they are able to go to the recess area, they're really not able to do much more than try to de-escalate and call the cops. The same thing any parent can do. And when you have so many individuals that are going to be suffering from substance abuse, you don't allow, the use of illegal drugs on site. So, and there's no curfew. Residents, or you say that you want to keep people inside, but they are free to come and go at any point during the day. Where do you expect when they need a fix? Where do you expect they're going to go to use? It's going to be around the corner. I hope they remember to pick up their needles from our cobblestone streets where our kids play.
That's it. Thank you.
Good night. So I think there's,
Wait. Councilmember, you want to say something?
I agree with a lot of the speakers. You mentioned transparency. Someone brought up you notified elected officials and the community board the Friday before the week ended for summer vacation. You didn't meet with elected officials until Monday, knowing that this meeting was going to happen today. The information that you provided us was exactly the same, which is highly limited. And so you talk about creating trust with the community, you talk about informing the community, you talk about protecting the community. How can we trust you to do that when you can't give us basic information, when it takes us 6 months to figure out even the basic response of what this facility is going to look like? When I'm sure the agency knew much longer than that this was happening, the timeline, the potential providers that are going to fill out this RFP. So it's really hard, to gain that trust and to work with the agency. And I think the biggest, it's not an elephant in the room anymore because everybody has mentioned it already, but the population has to change. And I think that's what this community, it's number one's priority. As many people say, we're supportive of housing the people who are unhoused. We see a lot of these people in our subway stations, outside of our grocery stores every day. We wish we can help them. We want to help. This PTA, these teachers, these parents have helped New Yorkers and old New Yorkers, and we want to work with you. But there's no trust right now, and we're just asking for the bare minimum, and we do want to help. And so I know that wasn't a question. I think everyone took up most of my questions already, but that's how I'm feeling as an elected official that represents this area. We have worked with DSS on a lot of individual cases, on a lot of shelters that work and don't work. But right now, it's really hard to work with you at this location when you're not even listening to us and you're not responding to our needs.
Okay. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
I'd love an answer.
Okay, so answer which question? I want to know why they keep insisting that type of shelter has to go there with that population. Do you have an answer for that?
And we need an answer to that.
Could I ask a question, Tara?
Hang on a sec. We need an answer to how we can have an opportunity to change the type. There has to be a pathway in city government. I think you need to explain to the families of the school who have migrant children at the location, living in a hotel, why a shelter for families cannot be done because there's not a symmetry in the information that comes from New York City. They are serving children who are homeless, who are migrant, who are currently living in a hotel. So you as a city representative need to answer all of those questions, please. And the safety and security, that's not yours because you phoned that off to Breaking Ground, but Anthony's point is well received. Unless you can promise us that you are providing an opportunity for people to use their drugs and services and harm reduction on site, that means that if they are taking drugs, they will have to leave the facility to use. There isn't a lot of locations in that neighborhood that they can go that is out of, you're gonna send them to Peckslet Park, where the kids are there on recess. You're gonna send them to the kids' playground across the street, down the street where the high school or Gotham Park is.
Riverside, I walk there,
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean,
benches,
It's,
the
it's,
abandoned buildings on Water Street, the school that's no longer there, where homeless people sleep currently, around the huge construction site.
We got it.
so
I live there, so respectfully, I don't attend a lot of other meetings.
you have to answer.
Me to speak?
I'd like both of you to speak, but really DHS first, because you're the city representative, they're fulfilling a contract. So,
Sure, sure. So listen, hear you loud and clear on the concerns about the site. As I said, these are at their core real estate transactions. And so.
Everyone will get a chance to speak.
These are real estate.
No, not
transactions,
really.
Which
Try
means
for everyone to speak.
that these proposals are brought to us. It's not like we go shopping around for different sites. Proposals are brought to us. And
Would you let him finish, please?
Have this where you live?
that's not appropriate, seriously, hang on a sec. Let him finish. If you want to advocate for change, you need to have all the information. Go.
We have all these.
And so these are the sites that are brought to us and we see what we can do with whether it's a ground up, build up site or with an existing facility that we can refurbish into a facility that we can.
What made this a better site
This-
than anything else that you've seen?
Can I
Would you please let him finish speaking?
The last part is not saying this, don't say anything, it's over. Come on.
People want to get on the record, they want to say, let's get them on the record.
Then don't let him. Don't let him. No. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Can you be
I want to say, here's the other thing I want to say, because the second part of your question, I do want to answer. In terms of population, we are driven by the capacity and demographic needs. I understand that there are requests for a differing demographic at this site. We will take a look and see what the demographics show and what adjustments can be made. But safe havens are particularly, they're useful in areas like this that don't have these type of facilities and have a high instances of street
I
homelessness.
don't buy that either.
And so,
But we asked you to come with the demographics, the overall demographics, not just demographics that supported the need for safe havens. Because what I flippantly said to you the last time you were with us, so we have solved homelessness for individual women, individual men, and affordable housing we've solved, and homelessness for families. So when I asked about the specifics to bring us data, that is the data that I was looking for in New York City. If you're using south of 14th Street, fine, or south of 59, you're trying to express to us that don't look at those homeless needs, look at this, and here's your stats on this, because this is what we want to put there. And what we're saying is, where are the statistics on the other stuff?
understood. The demographic, listen, I don't have the demographics for the women's population for, the entirety of Manhattan. But the demographics for women are substantially lower. There are women's facilities, single women's facilities in Manhattan.
And you are not sourcing to cite any other single women facilities in the next 2 years? Is that
The-
off the record for DHS now?
No, not at all. But, I don't have the pipeline in front of me, so we'll have to see. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm making an affirmative statement that we will continue to take a look at this demographic. I hear what you and everyone else is saying. And if that is something that could change, people's perception of what is going to happen at Pearl, then we'll look at
What
the
is your
numbers.
deadline to sign this contract?
But we don't have deadlines to sign. The anticipated opening off of the kind of normal track of budget approvals, OTDA approvals, buildings approvals, all of that gets factored in and factored into, our time frame. So right now, we are anticipating that all of the sign-offs will happen, by Q1 of next year.
Tammy, can I ask a question?
So, wait, so Q1 is like January
January
through
to
February, March. Okay, so that's really rapidly approaching. So what's happening right now at the site? What are you guys doing?
It's
You're not at the beginning here.
No, they are doing something. They're renovating. I see construction workers coming in and out of the place.
So what's okay. So then, if they all are seeing people at the site, who are they?
The owner of the building, because the site is no longer going to be a hotel, is making adjustments to the site, but breaking ground has to physically.
But okay. Samantha, are they making adjustments based on your specifications?
I mean, they're getting rid of mattresses that, that may have bed bugs, like, that's not.
So they're just taking out inferior stuff. They're not actually doing structural work.
No, wait a minute, Pat. The question that Pat asked was, is the work that your partner, Slate Properties, is doing based on requirements and needs that you have laid out?
It's based on it's not being a hotel anymore. Like whenever.
Okay, but no.
What is happening right now,
We're trying to get some answers for you.
anything that the developer owner is doing right now, they are doing at risk because there is no contract.
But wait, so they're doing at risk, but is it something based on specifications that you would require?
Yes, yes.
So they're doing some work that if the contract is signed, will already be done when you guys take
There
over.
are state regulations that any building would have to follow.
State regulations like what?
So there's state regulations, if it were to be a single adult shelter that's still applicable, that are applicable here. They're removing TVs that were left at the site.
Okay, are the state regulations for a single person shelter the same as a safe haven shelter? That it could be one or the other, or are the safe haven shelter requirements for construction unique?
No.
Are they doing construction? Are they doing
Yeah.
construction? They're only emptying out, and clearing away. That's all. That's all, what you're seeing there. Emptying out and clearing away.
Structural change.
But what does that mean? Limited structural change? What does that mean?
They've said they intend to make this a shelter. We're not uncovering anything here.
Right, I agree with that. That's the question.
They have deal.
What are they doing specifically?
I can't speak to exactly what the developer is doing, but they are preparing as a partner with the provider to, should everything pan out,
They are getting ready.
this be, to prepare for this facility to be ready to be a safe.
So basically, you've answered our question, that they are doing something, that if the contract is signed and it's turned over to breaking ground, they will have done some preliminary work that would aid in making this a safe haven shelter.
Sure, if it's like having roof.
Okay, Morton.
Yes, thank you. I've been waiting to ask a couple of questions.
Morton is first.
Yeah, my name is Morton Minsley. I'm a full member of the board, a member of this committee. And I share the concern of the community. I live in this community. I live around the corner. I also have a school-aged child. And I know a lot of parents whose children attend Peck Slip School. Some of them are in this room. I share the concern about the lack of transparency and the lack of engagement that has been characterized by this proposal for this shelter. And I just have a couple of basic questions that to clarify some terms that have been kicked around here. So there's transparency, so we know what's going on and who the players are. When you say the developer, you're talking about Slate, is that who the developer is?
Yeah.
Yes, and is it the fact that developer Slate came to the city with a request for proposal to place a shelter at this location?
The developer teams up with the provider and they present a proposal to our open RFP process.
So who was the provider? Is that you? Is that Safe Haven?
Breaking ground.
Breaking Ground, sorry. So the developer teamed up with Breaking Ground and came to the city with a proposal? Is that how that happened?
Yes.
Did Slate come to the city before they engaged Breaking Ground, or they engaged Breaking Ground at the same time?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think the way it came to DHS was through our open RFP process. If there were discussions before that, I have no idea, but our process is that we as an agency begin to evaluate proposals once the developer has teamed up with the provider. We work with the providers.
Do you know whether the developer came to the city before or after they purchased the property?
I don't know.
Do you know whether they came to the city with a request for proposal before December of 2023?
I have no idea.
Okay. And when you talk about the contract, who were the parties to the contract? Is it the city and Breaking Ground and Slate, or is it some other party?
The city and breaking ground.
Is Slate a party to the contract?
No,
Do you have a separate contract with Slate?
we have a lease agreement.
So Slate gives a lease agreement to Breaking Ground, and Breaking Ground issues a contract, enters into a contract with the city, is that correct?
Correct.
How much, do you know how much, Slate will receive under the lease agreement with?
Morton,
Morton, that's
that's
you.
your time. Well, you can answer it when we come back around. We're gonna go around the table. Go ahead.
You mentioned in the presentation, harm reduction services. What does that mean if it doesn't mean using on-site? And then the second question is to Anthony's question about needles, just from a practical sense. You see a needle on the street, you definitely don't pick it up with bare hands because a little bit of fentanyl on it, and you're taking your life into your own hands at that point. What would the process be if the school or the custodians or something do in fact find spent syringes in the area, which is not outside the realm of possibility? Does the facility have a collection protocol in place? I know when we found them in the neighborhood, called the local precinct, and the cops come with a specialized collection tools to secure them safely. What does that look like?
Should I answer? Sure. So harm reduction, honestly, if you guys wear a seatbelt, that's harm reduction. It's if you are doing an activity that could potentially cause harm to you, what are the steps you are taking to reduce the likelihood and the severity of that harm? So harm reduction when it comes to substance use is because abstinence only does not work for everybody. Also, I'm sure many of you folks in here are not abstinent only. And so even if you yourself know that I'm only going to have 3 drinks, that's a form of harm reduction. So how we work with our clients is we try to reduce the harm that they may be experiencing from substance use. We work with them around use assessments of understanding how much they are using, when does it become a risk for them, what are the strategies that we can use so that they might not be at risk of harm.
I'm sorry, that's not answering the question. You only have 2 minutes, I'm sorry.
Was harm reduction, and I am.
Did you ask
Yes,
I did, but if
So,
so it's not use on-site.
it is not used on site.
That's
And
the,
so I will, if I can speak, I will answer the question. So no, we do not allow substances or alcohol or drug paraphernalia on site as part of our security protocol. Every person who comes in is wanted, is searched, their bag is searched. We also conduct random room searches. We also do for every tenant in the building routinely. If there's any type of contraband, which also includes sometimes not allowed to have a certain type of electronic device because it's too much noise, we will confiscate those things. We also routinely work with our precincts. At all of our safe havens, we have our neighborhood community officers on speed dial. They come to our facilities on a regular basis. We work with them continuously. And honestly, I think the statistic that you put up was really inflammatory because one of our buildings is around a music venue. But anyway, we do have medical waste disposal. Our staff are trained in medical waste disposal. As I said, we do have safe havens in other locations. Unfortunately, there is one use that is not affiliated with our safe haven. And as a community partner, we will go out and we do attempt to clean up any medical waste that we find.
But the school finds something and they'll have your number and you will come collect it.
And even if it has nothing to do with our
But
program.
the problem is if we find it, if a kid finds it, that's a problem. If we find it,
We also have already spoken with the school about doing sort of housekeeping rounds in and around the neighborhood prior to school lineup.
24 hours
So-
on the clock, someone's standing there.
Okay, Peg, let's not go back and forth. Let's not go back.
So that we ensure that prior to school lineup, we have just done a sweep to ensure that there is
And
no.
at night?
Yes, we can do it multiple, we have 24-hour housekeeping. Can we do it every single hour of the day? That does seem excessive and not useful. But we have already decided to work with the school to ensure that we are doing that in accordance with any school lineup or dismissal.
It's not just lineup or dismissal, it's also use of the outdoor play street. And then you've got, kids who leave classrooms who go to the park. So it's not as if, I think the concern is, it's not a three-pronged arrival, dismissal, and even play street or lunch. It's also after school, and after school dismisses at two different times, early and late. So, I mean, we're looking at like at least six times a day, you'd have to speak.
Keep in mind is, how many people do you guys see experiencing street homeless now on your way to school?
Not too many, anyway. Shoot, too many other people. This.
Okay.
Different people who are experiencing street homeless.
In this neighborhood, yeah, it's City Hall area. I give you that, but not around.
Madam Chair, can we let the people
Yeah.
speak and get on the record? I think it's important. I
Go
know it's
ahead.
important. I'm sorry.
Francis, do you have something?
Pass.
Community speak.
Thank you.
John?
I would like to say what our city council member Marte said is basically it in the thing. You didn't communicate it well. We have always been protective of bringing things in like homeless shelters. We're working with you guys, but you did a terrible job. And you have to go back to the drawing board because you didn't do the basics. You didn't get a hold of the community board. You didn't get a hold of the school on a timely manner. And to bring something in like this, with this kind of animosity from the community board, it's not a good thing for your safe haven, and it's not good for the city. So you need to go back and say, this wasn't done right. The community isn't gonna accept it, and you gotta change it, because it ain't working. We understand about homelessness. We are working with 105 in Washington Street. The community was up in arms all about that. The community board is supporting it. But now you're alienating people on the community board that's saying, okay, you can't communicate with us, so why should we work with you in the future? So you gotta go back and say, this was a mistake, and we gotta think of something else in that space.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about reduction of harm for the potential homeless population that's going to be in the safe haven, but you're creating harm, potential harm for the kids and the families around. I mean, I don't see how you can't think about that. I mean,
Elizabeth,
the creation of harm for the kids that go to that school every single day. I mean, if one child picks up a drug paraphernalia, one child, like, that's still a huge problem. And I think that, like, the fact that you haven't thought about this and factored into your plans, I mean, you talk about the fact that the onus is not on you to actually go out and find a location, right? The onus is on a private landlord to actually come and bring a location to you. It should be your onus. It should be part of your job to actually do that. The fact that you leave this to the private sector and actually don't have involvement at all in citing locations, that's a huge problem. I mean, this should be your job. I don't understand why you guys are not involved with that at all.
Okay. Eric?
I used to live next to a homeless shelter, and this is the same playbook that we experienced, where we just found out right before, it was about to open. I mean, I want to know why the city is still using this emergency RFP process to do this, so that they don't have to bring this to the community. They don't have to discuss deciding. It's really, this is what we're doing. We're telling you about it, but there's nothing we can really change. And Tammy asked about when the contract's going to be signed, but I think that's a formality. The fact that you brought safe breaking ground here, you guys are already made major deal. It's all about what the contract amount will be. And these contracts, I bet you will go for like 9 years. So it's not gonna be a short-term thing. And this Breaking Ground organization, company, nonprofit, will make a lot of money on this. So, so my point is, my question is, why is DHS, the city, or DSS still using this emergency RFP process?
Yes.
So we're abiding by what the current law and regulations are. Our process has been, as you said, has been established for quite a while. We start with the proposals that come to us. We notify the community. We set up a public meeting, and the fact that we're meeting in September was a direct request from the community board.
Because.
I understand. I want to just be clear.
Because you notified in June,
I
the
wanna
PTA is off, they
understand.
operate in July and August.
I understand.
It's like
I
telling
understand,
somebody
but
that
what I'm hearing from folks is that we are just moving forward, and what we did initially was to make sure that we were responsive, because we knew that it was important to have this meeting at this moment.
After the table.
Let's,
Just,
unless the table really needs to say something that hasn't been said by somebody else around the table, we should.
but they have first option. If you don't want to say anything, don't say it.
Well, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you for coming and going through this. You do some of the most important work that our government does. And I imagine you rarely get thanked for it. I've sat through some of these on this community board. I've been to other community boards. All these meetings go this way, whether they're connected to a school or not. This community board did not support a similar safe haven shelter that's across the street from a school at Beacon Street. It was the same situation. So I understand where you guys are coming from. I'm supportive of safe haven shelters. They are a proven method, really the only proven method for dealing with our homelessness issue. And that's backed up by years of research. But I will say that in this particular case, you've made it difficult for people like me, admittedly, where you've decided to cite this and the lack of engagement with the community board. So I just want to give you one more opportunity to speak directly to the safety concerns that people have raised. What are the experiences that you've had at your other shelters with respect to safety, with respect to needles on the street? Has that been an issue, and how have you dealt with it? This is your opportunity.
Sure, I'm happy to. So our offices on 8th Avenue where there is lots, our main offices are on 8th Avenue where there is lots of open air drug use that is not affiliated with any shelter or safe haven or anything. Open air drug use in New York City is a problem in every community. And so that's something that we also address as a safe haven. What I will say is safe havens are a value add to the community because you already have people sleeping outside who have no supervision, who have no one watching. No one
finish and then we can get to you.
No one who is helping them if they are experiencing mental health symptoms. No one who is monitoring them if they are too ill. The whole point of the safe haven is people die outside. I am not making this up. People die outside. Safe havens are a way to stop people from dying on the street. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that's how we are a value add to the community. And that's how we keep people safe because homeless people who may be engaging also homeless people are a victim of crime. They are not only perpetrators.
Would you like to?
They are victims of crime. Bringing them inside to keep them safe and provide them with services. Most of our residents are well over the age of 50. They have been experiencing homelessness for decades. They have already been through shelter. They have already been in various affordable housing and did not get the support they needed. We are the change and we are the ones who get them into permanent housing. Breaking Ground is an operator of supportive housing. We have a 98% retention rate for people who move into permanent housing. If you want to end homelessness in your community and not have to have safe havens, this is how to do it.
Table first.
I spoke.
Okay, before I ask my question, I just want to make clear that you have to understand, we're not talking about the concept of safe havens. We're talking about a safe haven attached to an elementary school. Okay, this is my question. Because the barriers, you say, is lower, are there any complete criminal background checks and, sexual offender checks done on the clients coming in and out?
So safe havens, unlike traditional.
Not just talk about this specifically, just talk about that.
Havens, our intake process, our front door is controlled by street outreach team. Only people who are experiencing street homelessness, slept outside last night, are eligible to come inside our safe havens.
But just
The whole thing is outreach teams know these individuals for months, if not years, before they are referred to our facility. Outreach teams, as part of good case.
If you could just tell me if you did
It's a
background
yes or no.
checks.
It's a yes or no.
No.
As part of good case.
Okay, just, they're done. They are, they're done. Okay, that was it, that's just the question.
It is not,
Are they screening them?
but it's what we do because we don't want to set our clients up for failure.
Okay, that's just the
Does
question.
it give us something you want to ask?
I wanted to ask if,
Would you please?
We can ask you to leave. You don't have to be here.
Really, we'll get to everybody. And if you have something that you want to say, either raise your hand or stand so we can see you around the room, okay? That's it.
hi, I'm Desi, and I'm a full board member and also a member of the Youth and Education Committee. And so my question is about, is it possible in a reasonable amount of time to get some sort of proposal on what security would look like for the school?
Meaning prior to opening.
I mean, we have a robust security plan. that
No, no, no,
we've
no, no.
developed.
No.
Security for the school.
I would, yeah, I'm asking specifically about like what that budget would look like, how many people would be on detail, what exactly security would look like in terms of the school. And so.
Does that mean a safe haven or
Meaning,
outside?
no, I mean outside, like I know that security for the staff is primary, understandable. But because there is such a concern about the safety of children with the school abutting this shelter, is there a safety plan in place that addresses specifically the front entrances, back entrances? How many staff it would be? Is something like that in place?
So additional to the staff that they have inside for security. So are you gonna have an additional staff?
They already said, you
They
said
already
that you
said
would
six.
be, no, that's inside. What Desi is very specifically asking is for you to provide the plan when you talk about you'll pick up needles.
Yeah.
And you'll provide security. We need to see what that looks like. We want a proposal here. What did you say reasonable time? What is reasonable? Maybe we should.
I'd like to,
3 months before it opens.
No, like next month.
I'd like to,
Yeah.
if we could have it, maybe a presentation of it at our next
Meeting.
next
Yeah,
youth
next month.
and education meeting.
Exactly.
In October,
Yeah,
second Tuesday of the month.
All right, if that's it,
thank you.
nothing, Miriam,
No, I can let them
That's it.
speak instead.
go ahead. 2 minutes.
I'm Chris Keith. I've been in the community and now for about 10 years. I have 2 students that were at Peck Slip, one is remains. In regard to the school safety, we have a robust professional school safety officer. I have seen her chase people down the street that were lurking about during school time. However, she's one person, there are 400 children. I'm asking DHS to coordinate with the school safety department of NYPD to attach at least one extra officer to the school, so that there's one extra officer there to make sure that people who have problems, as we've admitted, huge problems of drugs, alcohol, criminal involvement, things that we do not know about are addressed if they come over around the school. I'd also like DHS to provide the contractual information about how much money the contractors and the developer are making, so the community can review it. We should know, this community could band together and probably provide a better opportunity for the city by renting the building ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's something that the community should have been offered, or the school.
The list is
I also, my understanding from what DHS has said is that this facility will address homelessness from 14th Street down, which I think is an enormously huge demographic area for a shelter for 116 beds or thereabouts, when from Frankfurt Street down to the Battery, there are definitely more than 116 homeless men. I saw a man urinating against a mailbox the other day.
Let's get a so your first question was
How much money is being,
can we get a school,
and can we get a school safety officer?
can we get a school safety?
DHS advocate would.
Can you DHS pay for not taking out of the school PTA budget and not taking out of the school education budget and extra security, because you are putting something that puts, there's no doubt this is the nature of the neighborhood.
Or perhaps the developer
I mean,
pays,
we're going after bad.
because they're the ones making the money out.
We just don't care who it comes from as long as it doesn't come out of the pocket of the school budget.
Understood. So happy to have that conversation and see what can be done.
Conversation.
Right now.
Conversation to respond to that question,
Right now.
because we need the DOE to be involved.
Okay, so then.
So TBD on that.
Would you be willing to back next month?
Sure.
Okay, so we can get some of these questions next.
That's good.
We're going around next, what's next?
Okay,
Hi.
hello, thank you everyone for being here and for battling. For some reason,
Yes,
this is Mariella. I'm from Southbridge Towers. I live right across the street and my children just graduated from Tech Sub. It seems like now we're talking as if this is really happening, and that's kind of scary because that's, you're asking questions about safety measures and all that. And so, you can talk till the cows come home, it's a bad idea. Having this low barrier shelter near any school is horrible. But in our exceptional situation here, you don't have statistics for a low barrier shelter being literally attached to an elementary school. And so you can show us, you can pass popcorn out and you can eat popcorn and watch it. It means nothing. Okay? You haven't really justified this ludicrous idea of going forth with this plan. Okay? You should be offering some other ideas like we've suggested in homeless, families. Okay? I mean, homelessness has been an epidemic for eons in New York City, okay? And we've seen the flux of all these people. We know where they're coming from. Nobody wants to talk about it because we get political, okay? Why haven't you thought about it over the years? Hey, this is what's happening. Maybe we should look elsewhere. We have a Governor's Island. We have Ellis Island. And Governor's Island is a resort. Are there any empty islands or empty lots, huge lots where people like this caliber of people can benefit? Having their own vicinity where they can roam freely and do whatever they want, because it looks like that, we're also creating a safe haven. We're also creating a safe haven for,
Time's up. Time's up. Thank you.
Thank you. We have
Thank
any
you.
comments?
On this side.
Kenny Grant, Southbridge Tower resident. You came in, you've been trying to fly this under the radar. Since June, everyone was heading into summer, school was out. This is just complete BS. It's just, this doesn't work. We're not gonna talk about like it's happening or what we need to do to like prep for it. It shouldn't happen. It's just a bad location. Adams administration, good buddy, Slate Properties, breaking ground and tow, comes to DSS with the deal. My question is, who okayed this? Who did their due diligence to see what this thing was connected to? It's attached to an elementary school. So who okayed this? I guess that's the main question, is who does that? And an administration that claims to prioritize the well-being of its youngest citizens, allowing the shelter to proceed is nothing short of negligence. If even one child is touched, harmed, assaulted, or worse, loses their life because a shelter resident leaves toxic drugs or residue in Peckslip Park or drops fentanyl in the PS 343 recess area while heading back inside the facility, The city will have blood on its hands. The administration will not be able to hide behind bureaucracy or platitudes. The people of this community will demand accountability, and the administration, DSS, Breaking Ground, will be held liable morally, legally, financially for every ounce of harm caused by this reckless decision. This location does not work. We got to think about the elderly community we have, which is huge. It's not dangerous. It's not the right site. Thank you.
How about this side?
Yes. Thank you, Kristen. We're going around the room. Next.
Did we get an answer to that question? His first question, which was who okayed this? Do we have an answer?
The approval process goes through, it starts off with our capacity and planning team. And every site is evaluated not only by DHS and DSS staff, but also by the folks over at City Hall. And decisions are made to be able to balance the need for the demographic which we are looking to house, as well as the geographic locations, as well as.
Which deputy mayor? We said city, the buck stops at City Hall, so which one?
It's a variety of, every specific location.
For this location, for DHS, which deputy mayor would the community be right?
The deputy mayor that DHS reports to.
Which is?
Ann Williams.
Who?
Deputy Mayor Ann Williams.
And William who?
That's what we write to.
All right, keep going, keep going.
2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Sinofsky. I'm the president of Southbridge Towers, your neighbor from across the street. If you're not familiar with Southbridge Towers, we're 2,900 residents, half of which are seniors. And all of us had our property taxes increased by 5% the last year. 200 of our shareholders actually make under 50K a year. So we are very middle-class New Yorkers who've been here a lot for over 50 years. So I have a couple of questions, and I'm just going to say the ones I haven't heard so far. Why is the city even doing business with Slate Property Group after it reneged on the 2016 deal for Rivington Housing when it was rezoned, promising affordable housing, but they did not fulfill? I mean, anyone who did that in any line of business would have been blackballed. So that's bad oversight. What will the city do to protect Peckslip Park, the Southbridge grounds, and Delory Park? Like, I haven't heard any plan for that. And there's a number of $42 million for 5 years going around. That's $217 a night. Is that a good deal or a bad deal for the city's money on this kind of shelter?
Where did you get this?
$42 million. That was, it's on their website for the contract for 5 years. And at Southbridge Tower, we're gonna have to spend probably upwards of over $1 million on enhancing security. Because right now our grounds is open to the ground. This includes, you know, high-tech equipment, fences, increasing guards. Are you gonna reimburse the city? Are you reimburse Southbridge Towers for that? I mean, these are hardworking New Yorkers. This is gonna have an effect on us. And finally, you haven't heard a question yet, but will smoking be allowed in this courtyard area or not? We've heard no drug paraphernalia. So these are open questions, and we're hoping, you know, the city will take care of us because we've been lifelong New Yorkers. Thank you.
All right, so any one particular question?
Smoking.
Yes, smoking. All right, let's go for smoking.
We are open to just figuring out what works best for the community. If it does not work to have it there, or we can only offer it during certain hours of the day. I mean, it has been brought up that having our safe haven there, you guys are afraid that people are going to be wandering the streets at night. If we allow smoking in that back courtyard at midnight, then I don't see how that would impact the school, and it would send residents on site. That is something we are considering, but nothing is permanent. We are here to be flexible. We work with our residents, we work with our community. That is the whole point of Safe Havens. We strive to be as flexible as we can with everybody we can, because our goal is to get people inside and get them housed, and that is the most important thing.
Okay, so striking is this topic that we, the community, can discuss.
Children are the most important.
With them, if they go.
Let's
go. Who's next? Stand up. please.
Remember, if you would like to speak, so we don't have to wait, please stand, and after you're done, sit
And
down.
if it's a question that's been asked already, please don't ask it again.
Go for
Hi,
it.
so I'm Ryan Fisher. I'm from the Flatiron West neighborhood and probably kicking off a segment of questions around the 105 shelter.
We're not talking about.
Well, that's too bad.
No, that's not too bad. We're talking about the 320.
I think it's really relevant because I just here as a community resident, feeling as though community board has opposed this shelter while not really taking up our issue as residents on the other, just the other side of town.
If we need to have a meeting about the Washington shelter.
Do we have an opening date for 105 yet?
We do not, we don't have any.
Hold on, I'm asking DHS, I'm not asking the community, because clearly if I don't know.
Who's
you
here
don't
for
know.
105? Raise your hand.
Okay,
There's a bunch of people here.
So
Awesome.
we anticipate having our first clients referred early next week. We're still.
do you have your, whoa, do you have your CFO?
We have our TCO, we're temporary, certificate of occupancy.
Okay, and all your stuff is signed off?
We're waiting for one more sign off, which we anticipate having tomorrow. That's why we haven't sent anything official, but we anticipate it being open, and clients being referred.
When clients being referred means you can house them starting.
Correct. Yeah.
So, starting tomorrow.
Monday.
Monday, you have to start housing.
Before the first person moves in.
What?
If the signature, sorry, if the signature you're saying is waiting for tomorrow, that you're expecting the first person to be able to move in on Monday, am I understanding then that then you're waiting for this last signature to come through before you give this official announcement? The official announcement is to this state where the first person moves in?
Well,
yeah, we knew, so the site had been notified. We have been working with your elected representatives to give as many updates as possible. There has been a delay because of a variety of sign-offs.
Okay.
We have.
All right.
The first resident can move in of Monday.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay, we're not discussing one of.
So we're not
You can
talking,
leave that
we're not
to the
talking
end.
about that specific shelter, but as it affects 320, we now know that you will have beds available and you will start moving services in, so the safe haven will be open.
And you will have the one required safe haven and will be open in CB1.
Bingo.
So
Is there anything else, Brian, that is particular and relevant to the siting of 320 or 320 at all? Or anything that is related that you want to go over?
Not that, but
We're coming around, so if you.
Sorry, if you think, if you think of anything related, then raise your hand and stand back up, okay?
all right, silence.
Okay, anything else? Is it 320 or one?
Yes, well, so I'll just say from 105 Washington to the 320 community, they made a lot of promises that they did not comply with, curfew, things that were represented that were then reneged on. So I encourage you all to not take anything they say at face value unless they can back it up, because words are empty, and once the shelter is there, they'll bring them in, give you 2 days' notice, and you have to scramble with your kids on Monday.
Okay, right, thank you. Anybody else over here about,
Name's Leslie. I just want to share a recent experience I had that relates to all of this in terms of our police responses to emotionally disturbed homeless individuals. So this applies specifically, this is on West Side Highway, but this will apply on the other side at Pearl Street as well. So we've been told, understanding that there is a safe haven shelter being opened. We've been told that our course of action is to call 911 if we see an emotionally disturbed person, that the police will come, that they will add them to the homeless registry or to the outreach service list, and that they will also potentially approach that person and ask if they would like medical assistance. I waited 25 minutes for the police officers to come to the wrong block. I had been hiding from an emotionally disturbed individual so that I could ID him for the police, which is what we have been told is what has to happen in order for the police to take action. Once they got there, parked on the wrong block, I ran to them, went to the officer's car and said, "Can you please come so we can go speak to this individual?" It took me another 10 minutes to convince the officer
to get out of his car because he didn't want to approach the emotionally disturbed individual. Then he said, no, I'm not going to send them into home.
Did you get his information?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take that up privately with the CEO, but I just want to share this to the community so you understand sort of the situation we're all going to be facing. Then he waited for his supervisor to come because he said his supervisor were deciding if they could report this person to homeless services. So now we're 45 minutes after the 911 call, 15 minutes after I've left the spot to identify the individual. By the time I now have 8 police officers following me down the block, the individual has of course left the area and we've accomplished nothing except that I have personally wasted 45 minutes of my time and I have a very angry police officer mad at me that I made him get out of his car to do what I understood to be his job. So folks, what we're looking at here, and this is the thing that I don't understand about the Safe Haven shelter. If you're recruiting from 14th Street, you are going to bring more individuals who are of this nature into the neighborhood. And right now, we are already facing enough issues with the people that are here.
I gotta catch on.
And our police officers don't have capacity to help us. Thank you.
Sarah?
I just want to understand that. My name is Whitney, part of Fido West Association. Great to see everyone in person.
Could you do me a favor? Can you send the story with the police names to the district manager?
Every single point that's been made this evening applies to both the school and Peck Slip, and it applies to 105 Washington. We have a school 10 steps away. We have a block away. We have a school
Not next to it.
Institute.
No. It's not on the same street.
I understand. We are also, I'm gonna take my 2 minutes. We're also next to a 1,000-bed migrant shelter. And a very quiet block. And you guys think this is okay. You are very adamant against other shelter. I agree 100%. What is different about 105 Washington that everyone at this table
You
has
just said
advocated
it.
for?
It's not next to a school.
It is.
You said we were going to talk about 105.
That is what is right. We did not talk about 105.
I never said it was attached to a.
Okay, if you
It is attached to a
You have a
1,000-bed
question about
migrant.
320? You want to rephrase this for the 320?
I'm asking why everything that's an issue here, being near schools, does not apply to 105 Washington.
And are you asking the community board?
I'm asking
And the
Marquette, the community board, I'm asking all of you, yes, why you think this is an acceptable situation.
Where's it?
And we're not even giving our children 2 days to figure out childcare, because they can't walk to school by themselves. We need to figure out safety and security to walk our kids multiple blocks to school. It is 1 block away. There's a migrant shelter already causing.
Right,
issues.
we agree, we need.
Why
a
do you
safe
think this is an
haven.
acceptable?
We agree, we need a.
We're not
a
talking
city
about the
shelter.
siting of 105. I
Exactly.
appreciate that. We're not talking about that siting. The topic today is to give the, is.
Citywide.
That's what the agenda says.
Okay, yes, so if you guys have spoken this type, that's on you guys. You
This
welcome
is
the community to this
320.
conversation.
It says 320 Pearl Street.
320 Pearl and
And-
citywide.
And citywide. And citywide statistics.
No.
It's not.
It says and citywide and CD1 statistics.
This is-
This is not about 105.
Anyway.
And last month at your meeting, DSS was supposed to come back with more information, including why they applied, saying that they were gonna.
Time is up.
They didn't, and there was an apology, which is beautiful to hear, doesn't change. And now.
Come back with questions, I'm sorry, come back with questions for 320?
Answers,
Not answers, questions that we.
Answers for 320.
Yeah, answers for 105.
That are
haven't gotten the answers, and now we're hearing it's too late.
I don't think anyone's like your.
Oh, no.
Let's, I want to talk to you. Let's get on.
But it's relevant because it goes to the credibility of what they're running. That's not what I talked about 320.
We can't hear any of y'all.
Yeah, you're all talking, but yeah, there are questions that we ask, but are we asking us questions now?
But it should be
About
relevant
why.
as to the credibility, right? Because they're now making promises in a different area that's now abutted.
But we're still opposed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not in favor of it.
Well, we're not leaving them as well.
Okay.
But then you're asking them to come back after like.
Let's let Tricia, and then I'm going backwards. Let Tricia go first. Go, Tricia.
So I'm Tricia Joyce, I'm the chair of the Youth and Education Committee of this community board. I have here the board 14 years. And I have to say that I have never understood how something like this gets these wings before we come here and we are reduced to this situation. This community is the one that, excuse me, after September 11th, people were given incentives to move downtown. As a result, we have over 230% growth in the financial district, 90% families. There are more children below Canal Street than there are in any other district of Manhattan. 77,000 additional people. We had to fight for these schools to be built, 5 of them, within 8 years. And we got it done. And everyone came. Since the pandemic, they have suffered under enrollment because people were already leaving. What people don't understand, I think, the city doesn't understand because it was commercially zoned before September 11th. And we are continually challenged with these kinds of situations. We've already had too many of them. I am tired of having it be a NIMBY discussion. It's unfair to the people who live here. I am a huge supporter of Safe Haven. I think it is one of the best organizations that we have ever had serving our homeless. So it's with a very conflicted heart that I say, I implore you to go back and talk about the location of this shelter and this shelter. There is so much vacant real estate in this city right now. There has never been a larger opportunity in terms of the selection of the place to put these very, very needed support systems.
Okay,
We
thank you, Sue.
absolutely need that. But I will tell you that we have not been able to count on any of the security approaches that have been discussed here this evening. This one I just heard is unfortunately very similar to many that have been brought to me as chair over this time.
Yeah.
I don't think we would be
Sorry,
serving ourselves
sorry,
well.
that's it.
Wrapping up. I don't think we would be serving ourselves well to engage in that discussion. That is from my experience for these 15 years. And I think we would be making a huge mistake to try and reduce this conversation to those structures. That's all I have to say.
Now going backwards.
Very specific question. My name is Amy Walker. I have 2 children, live in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, Amy, a little louder.
My name is Amy Walker. I have 2 kids. One goes to Peckslip in 2nd grade. I'm actually the president of the PTA, but I'm not speaking on behalf of the PTA. I'm just asking a very specific question. As a former urban planner in Chicago, I'm very familiar with the workings of governments and private real estate and partnerships that get formed. I'm curious, generally speaking, at least in my former job, you had to demonstrate need for a shelter in a very specific catchment area. I'm wondering if that has been demonstrated for this particular shelter at Green Park Pearl Street. And if not, why has it not been demonstrated? And what is the legal recourse for dealing with something that might not even be needed? And my second part to that question is, if the beds are not filled, will the city taxpayers still be paying for beds? That's my question.
So I can't comment on the contract terms. But in terms of, I'm sorry, I forgot the.
Demonstrating need.
Demonstrating need, right. So yes, that was, that is one of the first couple of slides that I put up there. In
That
terms
didn't
of-
demonstrate need. No, I'm talking about a more specific catchment area.
Right.
Generally in urban
So
planning.
that- so
Southeast Portland Street
currently,
is pretty large
currently,
area.
until Washington Street opens, there are no DHS facilities in Lower Manhattan. Therefore, because the need.
Will in 2 days.
Because of the demographic need based off of the numbers that we get through our outreach to the street homeless population, there's a certain amount of beds that we need to have capacity.
So did you put out a request for a proposal prior to, or based on those numbers, prior to being approached by Breaking Ground in the week?
That
Or
gets
did the
factored
need
in,
come
that gets factored
afterwards?
into the decision-making
So
process.
the need was identified after they approached you or prior to that?
The need has been identified for quite a while now. The street homeless population.
Before anybody was communicating with Breaking Ground.
But not a need, are you talking about?
Answer the
specific-
question.
Not working.
I'm talking about, you're showing us numbers, right, of how many people, but those numbers, did you guys come up with those numbers after the agreement was sort of hashed out? Or were those numbers?
No,
based
those are
on,
current,
like, the
those are
number of
current
beds
numbers.
that you guys
And
already
as I mentioned to Tammy's question, the contract is not completed yet. So in terms of the decision-making, nothing has been hashed out other than identifying the need based off of the demographics and the street homeless population that exists.
But I do think there should be, if the evaluation was done before, when we had 0, on Monday, we'll have 105 Washington open, which will show a demonstrated support system. So won't that change the metrics and numbers? And then when you come next month, bring the rest of the numbers for single women who need shelter, et cetera, what other types of shelters could change the balance of what is needed in Community Board 1 and therefore lead to a hopeful decision with the city that a different type could be open to.
I'm sorry, table, but.
I'm building off her question. She's talking about
I
needs assessment.
I absolutely fully acknowledge that once 105 does open, that will impact the need of the community. But what you saw and what we presented was that the need
But you have other safe havens. It's not like there are no safe havens between
I understand.
Canal Street and 14th. There are like 3 on 14th Street alone.
Say no safe havens. How does that?
I understand the.
So, I mean.
There's still an identified need, even though you might not necessarily agree.
But the need is not this little specific area. The need is from 14th Street down. It's a huge catchment area.
No, I disagree, that's because we showed the hotspots, but
Yes,
Erin
but there
showed the
are,
hotspots, and
but there
over
are also other
2,000 unique.
needs.
I-
But there are other needs. You're focusing on one. You know what? You need more than just water to live.
There
You
was-
need food.
There was no analysis done before they discussed this with breaking ground. No, because it's an open-ended emergency for the last 15 to 20 years RFP. So it wasn't specific for this area that you contacted or Breaking Ground contacted you or.
He's
about
saying
this
it's not
proposal.
That's not true.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
I need Peggy to go.
I just have a question. I want to follow up on some of these questions that didn't get answered. I want to know, when did Breaking Ground and Slate sign, when did you sign your lease agreement with Slate?
We do not have a signed lease agreement at this time.
So you don't have a signed lease agreement with Slate. There's no signed contract yet. There's several people here from Breaking Ground. On the DSS website, it shows that the contract was initiated, still in progress, not signed, but initiated on January 1st, 2024.
That is incorrect.
It's on the DSS website. It's
A month
incorrect.
after they closed on the
They
property.
closed on the property, Slate closed on the property on December 15th, 2023. On January 1st, 2024, on the DSS website.
I'm sure.
It is there. It says Breaking Ground, in progress, contract for 320 Pearl Street. So I love how everyone's ready to open in Q1 of 2025, yet no one has a contract signed. Yet letters have come to the community in June. So 6 months after that, letters came to the community that you are opening a shelter in the fall, which is now delayed to Q1 of 2025. So.
I'm sorry, Peggy, hold on a second. So if on the website it says,
J-
one of.
January 1st, 2024.
So if that isn't correct, what is the correct date?
And how did bad information get on the website?
Not be correct?
Especially a city website, which, no offense, I mean, the city websites are not known for their robust timing.
Well, let's have the answer.
So I believe that was a typo. What we're relaying right now is that there is the contract is.
No, but, so you said it was initiated.
January
So
1st.
when was it initiated then?
It wasn't initiated.
Well, then why are you sitting here if there's nothing been initiated?
Right. It was a typo like that.
So they're saying May or June. I don't know why that makes a difference, so they're still talking about open.
Pat, what did you say? They're saying what?
And Breaking Ground, bring the contract, bring this initiative to DSS. Slate bought the property. Slate has the leasing agreement tentatively with Breaking Ground. And then DSS is operating. Did Slate and Breaking Ground bring you this opportunity?
Yes, through
Yeah,
the open RFP process. They said that.
So they brought it.
That's how it works. Another time.
All right, we're going this way.
Okay, so.
All right, Put up Peggy. We're going this.
You know, a lot of people have been waiting and
Go
I
ahead.
think we should let them.
John? Fight it out.
My name is Roberto. I'm a superintendent right across from 105.
105. This is not that one.
And,
We're not discussing 105.
well,
We're not discussing 105. We're not discussing 105. If you have a question about 320, the 320. But you, last time you were here, you said the same thing.
Hold on.
We're not discussing.
Have you met, can we introduce you? Because
Yeah.
these are not the shelter operators. We would, because DHS is telling us that shelter opens next week. We should, Monday, we should put you in contact with the people who are operating that shelter.
We've already been here.
We will connect you with them, because
Would
breaking
you come
ground,
here and give us your number?
yeah, straight to Zach, because breaking ground cannot help you with that location.
2 minutes.
What about DSS?
Or a council member can.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So.
Give your information to Zach and say,
Sorry, can't hear.
hold on, Tracy, are you still back there?
Yeah. Bless you.
When Tracy comes back, I want to give your information both to Tracy and to Zach.
Okay, sure.
So, Francesco Rulli, 330 Pearl Street. The gentleman spoke about being a real estate transaction. I think this is treated as business. The other gentleman mentioned what is the cost of this transaction. It just comes down to money at the end of the day. You guys.
Coming back next month with that answer.
No, I'll get to a question. It comes down to money. Where is the school representative here? Has ever been evaluated to use that facility to expand the school and to provide more services to the students? Or has everything to do with money? And then, obviously, it would be nice to have a list of people involved in the decision-making, names and last names, as the gentleman say, they are accountable for any damage to the people and to the properties in this area. Those people that took the decision, they have to be liable. It's very simple. This format doesn't work. The gentleman here is not prepared to answer most of the questions. And we're talking about something has already been decided. We're talking about dates that are published, that they have no validity. So why are we wasting everybody's time here? What's important is names of the decision makers, including the people here present at this table. What is their legal responsibility, going to the deputy mayor, the mayor himself, and at the same time to say, where is the school? Why there is not a representative of the school here, an evaluation about using this facility to expand the school, because the community can simply pay for that. That's why we pay those freaking real estate taxes. That's why we do this. We pay for education, right? So
Well,
that's.
certainly the community could get together if they wanted to and approach to the developer.
Exactly.
And undercut.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we need those numbers, we need those names.
But
And we have.
that's,
But you could approach the developer and get those.
you can
numbers.
approach like properties at any time.
Right.
That is up to the community, whatever the community does, that doesn't
It's
involve
not
us,
even
we
do with
can't,
community
right?
board.
If you want to speak to somebody, as Chris was saying, you need to, you know, the deputy mayor. So the deputy mayor for Health and Human Services is Ann Williams Isom, ISOM.
So as a community, you all should be writing.
And she,
She's the one that signs off on all of this
right,
stuff.
so she's the deputy mayor.
That's where the process begins.
Provide that oversees.
Okay, we gotta keep moving. We gotta keep
So
moving.
it sounds like
Mayor
We have
Adams
2 minutes.
himself.
she needs to have. a meeting.
Yeah, busy.
I'm and I've been a resident of this community for over 30 years. I am both an architect and a mom, and I'd like to just make 2 points in particular and ask one question. As an architect, I walk by the site every single day, and I'd like to understand what the permit was told for from the Department of Buildings and what work is actually happening. Because I can tell you for sure, there is construction work happening.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They already said.
So what are they doing?
But they are not the ones in charge of it.
Putting out mattresses with
No,
that.
no, they said that they were doing, the developer is doing whatever work is required to no longer make it a hotel, yet to make it, you know, but they're not requesting that work. But the developer obviously knows what specifications are needed, and so therefore the developer is starting to work along those lines.
Before I lose my 2 minutes, my other 2 points.
You get another couple.
Very specifically as well regarding the demographics. The other big concern is what this facility is costing versus if the demographics are actually produced, which I actually don't believe are going to be produced, but I really hope they are. On the other types of facilities,
that would be more appropriate to locate next to an elementary school, if there's any concern and consideration that's being given as to the cost of that renovation and who makes those decisions and how is that mitigated? So for example, what is it to stop this developer from doing this? Is there anything we actually can do?
Yeah, you guys undercut
Right, it's a
them,
private
the
development.
city, it's private developer.
I don't have any money. I mean,
There was
my last point as a mom.
somebody applied over there.
My child went to school in the city. He's launched, I'm so happy. I represented the special education committee for all 8 years that he was at Spruce Street, before Pexler even existed. I can tell you 100%, one child is one child too many who will be harmed. And I'm not talking about needles on the street. We have special education built into our education system. It is a way of making sure that everyone gets the education that they deserve. I will say, I do not believe for 1 second you can guarantee from this safe haven, from this facility, that a low barrier shelter that is not looking at sexual crimes that have been committed, that is someone who is currently using drugs, is never going to affect a single child coming to and from that school. What happens when these kids hit 4th and 5th grade and they want to walk themselves to school? Because this is part of their growing independence. You've made no claim whatsoever how you're going to protect these kids outside the doors of your facility. You've heard nothing to that end.
So that is what we're asking you.
Sure.
That was We're not agreeing that we think 320 is an appropriate location because a safe haven attached to a school, we stand on that position, is not appropriate there. But the more concerning thing is that you have absolutely no plan that you have shown that will augment the safety of the kids who are 10 feet away from the entrance.
So I've said previously before, and I will say again, so first of all,
Come with a plan next month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Me to answer.
we want you to answer, but you said you have 6 people in the building. We're not talking in the building, we're talking outside the building.
And I spoke about how we will patrol outside the building as well periodically throughout the day. We will partner with the school. Night time, early dismissal, whatever it is. I'm not just saying we're only doing it 3 times a day. We partner with the school to understand the school schedule so that we can have a presence outside when there are children outside. We are making.
Okay, so you know what, have a discussion with the school and come back next month and we'll have that discussion.
We'd love to see that person outside the school from 7 AM to 6 PM.
Maybe it's not just one.
You know, 1 or 2 or whatever. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Regina. So I serve this is regarding Pexlet. So I'm a parent of PS 150 and with my own concerns of safety opening 105 Washington, I do want to say opening a shelter attached to an elementary school is a horrible, horrible idea. Should just not open there, my opinion. But in case you don't have kids, I just want to let you know that when we say 3K is 3 years old, some of the children are not even 3 years old yet. They're still 2. They're still in diapers. They are being taken to school in strollers. So I just don't think this is a horrible idea, actually. So as a parent, I just want to say, horrible idea.
Even people who are not.
It's a vulnerable population. You're dealing with 2 and 3 year olds or kids with disabilities. How do they know that they're walking down the street, they see a needle they shouldn't touch? An adult knows, we know, right? They can defend themselves against assault, let's say. An adult can, more or less. I mean, you're dealing with such a vulnerable population. It's such a bad idea that you really, and you're not going to convince anyone in this room. We can talk for hours.
Let it go.
Can I ask? Wait.
If you Morton, quiet.
Something they asked, I need to follow.
No.
Have there been permits? I'm looking on the building department site. I don't see
I'm gonna
it.
ask you to step out until the public's done.
They let the table talk. Now
Let's
let's
get around to. Please, go ahead.
Janine Sharonchone, resident of Southbridge for 30 years. Couple of comments and then my questions. First of all, it defies logic that we're even having this conversation about having a shelter attached to an elementary school. So with that as a baseline, I feel that the community has come here with intelligent and thoughtful questions. We have been articulate about wanting to understand what you think, what you've done, and you came here with almost no information for us. I don't understand how we're gonna get from this level of gaslighting from you to actually answering our questions in an intelligent and reasonable way and getting back to us with steps and a plan for how we're going to move forward with our concerns. I heard none of that tonight.
But you know what, before the questions are answered, I want to know why we can't change the population of the shelter.
Well, that was the first point. It defies logic that we are even having to discuss this. Why don't we?
Don't run out of your 2 minutes.
Store,
Ask your
honey,
question.
beside the school.
Okay.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. Okay. What is going to happen next? What are you going to do to answer these very reasonable questions and concerns? You came here with no facts tonight.
Well, first of all, I disagree. There was a presentation that was given. You might not like the facts that I presented, but I did present facts based off of the outreach that the agency does with this contract. I understand.
You couldn't answer a single
Okay,
question.
let him finish. Let him finish.
I think I've answered several.
Okay.
But with regard to the demographics, I have said that we're going to have that conversation and see what.
I think that's where we start, is trying to get the demographics.
Stop.
You had your turn. You had your turn.
Other people
It
have.
hasn't actually answered the question, which is what are you actually going to do to answer our questions? And there were, 50 great questions and they're important questions. What are you going to do to answer those questions and to bring the information that we have been requesting?
Are y'all capturing these questions? Because I don't see anybody taking notes. Sorry, I just didn't realize.
There's, well,
Okay.
yeah, are you taking notes in the back? It's okay, this lives on YouTube forever.
But I wish
So
we
we
could
can-
answer the question of
Yeah.
what you are going to do with the notes you've taken and to answer all of the questions. What, there's one meeting planned for next month where you'll bring something?
To put a finer point on the question though, tomorrow, you've had this meeting tonight with extreme dissatisfaction with this location. What does tomorrow look like for you? Like, what is the next step?
In this process.
The next step is trying to figure out how we can find a middle ground between what the concerns that have been raised here are and the need and the mission of our agency to provide resources for the city's street homeless population.
The middle ground is a different population.
But you're still not answering the question. What does that look like? What steps, what things will you do tomorrow?
It's a conversation internally with whom? What does that look like?
Is this a conversation with the deputy mayor? And are we sending the parents and the people from the community to the deputy mayor's office to rally in front of her door?
There's a variety of folks that that have oversight and have opinions and are looking forward to hearing back from everything that has been offered here today. And from there, we will be as responsive as possible and be prepared to come back before you in a month as requested.
But you didn't do that for us with online.
That's right. Next person.
Let me make sure on. And that's shot back to what I'm saying. We're still waiting for you.
Okay.
My name is Catherine Rafa. I live in the neighborhood. I'm one of those childless crazy cat ladies. I hear everyone, this location is a non-starter for a safe haven shelter. Breaking ground, you operate low-income housing. That would be great. We love permanent neighbors in our kids, no kids, permanent residents. That would be great. I've heard talking about pickup, drop off. At 5:28 yesterday, I took a picture of the after-school drop off. I had to ask my neighbors because I don't know how this works. Apparently the children get bused to after school and bused back. This is at 5:28, not 5:30. I don't want to lie about the time. The bus is directly in front of 320 Pearl. And I'm happy, I printed 40 copies. I'm not quite enough for everyone in the building. And I'm glad my neighbor Adam brought up smoking. If this was a regular courtyard at a school, there would be no smoking allowed. It would be under the Parks Department purview. There can't be any smoking. It's a non-starter for a safe haven, but there would be no smoking allowed in the school courtyard. So why is there allowed to be smoking, or why is it even a discussion for secondhand smoke into the school at this location? So I'm happy, Madam Chairwoman, Tammy, if you would like.
Please share the photos. It goes back to what I said, where your comment of we can provide security at specific times doesn't actually work in the flow of the school. It is from 7 in the morning when the staff and everybody arrives, and early kids who arrive for breakfast, to 6 o'clock at night to when the school building closes, every single day. That is what, and not just, oh, well, we'll have to make a call because something's happening.
back to the hands-on.
Yeah.
So my name is Timothy Green, and my Generation Alpha son, who attends Peckford School, just called and said, make sure you tell everybody that this is not an appropriate spot for a safe haven shelter, but he has migrant kids in his class that he loves, and they would love to live in that building.
Where's he tonight? He was here last month.
He was here, yes, he came, that was his first community board meeting, mine as well.
You didn't like it, so he didn't come back?
He had after school, he got let out at 5 o'clock.
Get out too late.
Okay, that's it. So let's move on to the next person. Anyone, lady?
Yeah, hi, my name is Elena. I live at Southbridge Towers. So I had to hear this young lady first say behind, she has a 3-year-old, and why can't he just go to school and she doesn't have to have anxiety every day? I'm a future grandma of a child being born at Southbridge Towers. So my question is to the young lady who I forgot her name, sorry.
Erin.
When the school is in session, can there be a way, because with what's happening with 105, they're opening in 2 days, so I'm going on the premise, this is pretty much a freaking done deal. Yeah. Excuse my vocabulary, Chris, I think you could do a little bit more, so like. Is it possible that when school is in session, can an area be roped off, or is it that they have rights that they could be on the sidewalk? I would think an area should be roped off from 7 to 5, where they are not allowed, the people that are living there, to even be near the children. Can you rope off the area, or is that infringing on their rights?
It's not my property, so I can't.
I give for breaking ground.
The property that's in front of the school is the school property, right? Our property would be just in front of 320 Pearl Street. What we do know is that there is the open air playground, right? We've already had some preliminary discussions with the school. And this is what I'm saying, we will work super closely with the principal and the assistant principal to understand the flow of that school, to understand when people are coming and going, when children will be outside, and be respectful and accommodating to that.
So because the school being in their right to block it off, they can actually block off the sidewalk, those the public sidewalk.
I mean, the school right now closes the streets. They obviously have.
I'm asking if that's possible, or will there even be a media that we're stopping the rights of people that live here?
That would be totally up to the DOE.
Well, but here's the problem. You're saying that's totally up to the DOE. The DOE, I mean, I've lived under the Adams administration to know long enough, right, that you're not gonna have the DOE fight DHS.
That's right.
Because Mayor Adams does not allow agency people to speak to the public unless it's at a direct meeting. The only PR people who speak are the people he allows. So let's not have that conversation. The concern is, we're talking about security and safety and things like that. Is the reality of what you're telling us is that even if you provided security, you would not be able to patrol around the building because that's walking in front of DOE grounds?
No.
I'm just trying to understand.
She's asking, can breaking ground rope off a public sidewalk? No, it's not within our authority to do.
Right, but
we cannot restrict, we cannot restrict public access to the sidewalk. That is not our authority to do. If someone else wants to restrict public access to a public walkway, we will respect that, just as we did any other way.
But the school probably then will not be allowed to do that, I guess, under certain city guidelines. You can't
No,
Oh, yeah, let's not speculate. I think what we did, we agreed that we will come
I
back
think what
with.
we have to speculate is that we have children, and you guys have.
Okay.
Okay,
They're
I
gonna come back with the
apologize.
safe. No, you have no
I
problem.
apologize. It's
They're
just
gonna
that,
come back
look at
with
what
the
happened to
safety.
them.
They're supposed to come back next month with a safety program, which we then can discuss. We disagree with if we don't agree with it.
Which doesn't mean that we still say yes, we still
But I
say
still
no.
think the main question is changing the population.
Again, it's a change for them.
So again, I'm going to repeat the deputy mayor's name, because again, that's who Chris's team reports to, right? So it's the deputy mayor that will sign off on everything. So when you are ready, you should be writing and talking to the deputy mayor, and her name is again.
Jan Williams.
Ann Williams Isom, ISM. Williams dash
This
ISM.
will also be recorded, so in case you miss something, you get it.
Yep.
We can't hear it, so could maybe Zach put it in the chat? Sorry, I hear you, but I don't hear you.
Don't worry, we'll send it around.
Okay, the young lady who has experience.
Go ahead, guys. My name is Michelle Devine. I'm a resident of Southbridge, the building right across the street from 320 and the school. My son just started pre-K at Peckslip this year. When we got the acceptance in May, we were so excited, so pumped to have it right across the street. Heard nothing but wonderful things about the school, to find out a month later this happened. The amount of stress and anxiety that this has added to me and my brain as a mom, all I want is for my child to be safe, happy, and healthy. And this is taking a toll on me, my family, the community, everybody around. All I want is for my son to be able to enjoy being a kid and enjoy his elementary school years without us having to monitor him 24/7, whether that's by myself, my husband, like, I want him to just be a kid and be able to enjoy that life without anybody having to have any of these concerns. And it just feels like the children and their safety just is not a priority at all. I'm not sure if it was even considered in this. It seems like no matter what the building was next to this, nobody cares. And the fact that it's a school should be extra important. So my questions are really, was the children's safety and the fact that it's the school ever really even considered or thought about? What's the rush? It feels like it's just all happening so quickly.
Let's get an answer to that.
And
So how much, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
it feels like it's like, okay, we have to do this, all these
All
emergencies.
right, that's your 2 minutes. Let's get an answer to, so what the children's concern, I mean, when you were citing this next to a school, what was the conversation? It's going next to a school.
But, if anybody from DHS or DSS, like, I don't know if you have kids, if you do, or you don't, put yourselves in our shoes.
Yeah, but if you don't have kids, you can still put yourself.
That's the thing, if you do or you don't, put yourselves under your shoes as living in the community, and if you do have kids, if your kids were going to the.
Okay, let's get an
Let's
answer.
get an answer.
That makes
Let's get an answer.
What was their pros and cons list?
So when making the decision to site this facility, we relied on the experience of a established provider like Breaking Ground, who has ran sites similar to this, in similar vicinity to school sites and to other sites. And we felt confident in our ability not only with the provider, but also, remember, where there's going to be a cab that will be, that will be established for this, for this facility. Part of the cab includes all of the community stakeholders, including PD.
Okay, but Chris, I'm sorry, Aaron, what was Breaking Ground's discussion about citing this next to a school?
I mean, we evaluated the site of whether or not we thought that we could operate a high quality safe haven at this location. And we believe.
But I'm sorry, that's about the residents of the safe haven. What about the children?
So, as I said, we have very vulnerable people inside our safe haven. We have
I will, let me speak. So we have people who have chronic medical conditions.
Here we go.
So who have low mobility. This site provides an elevator and ADA access, which is very rare for a safe haven.
Okay. The question about the children.
And I am explaining it because we know who our safe haven residents are. We know that they are more likely going to be over the age of 50. We know that they are going to have physical or limited mobility. We are not concerned that we cannot maintain safety both inside the facility or in the immediate surrounding area with our residents. And that is because we have a track record of providing safe havens existing now. And also, this is not traditional shelter where people are coming in every night who we don't know.
That's why we're concerned.
No, but this is not.
Because it is a low barrier shelter. That's the concern.
But,
That's not
but,
traditional.
the reason why these are outreach teams control the front door to any safe haven. These are people, outreach teams know for months, if not years. They are not new entities to us. When they come in, they are escorted by the outreach team for a warm handoff. We are sitting there meeting with the outreach team and the client together at the safe haven so we can wrap ourselves around this person and provide them the support they need. This is not something that happens.
And how are you wrapping your arms around the community and the school? Sounds to me, every question that you answer, the question was not about how you take care of the people inside. The question was how, when you evaluated the site, do you plan to wrap your arms around the most vulnerable of New York citizens? Beyond the homeless are the children and the youth, all right? Kids walk to school by themselves. You want everything is fine. The question is not what you do on the inside. The question is how you integrate that type of attitude and care for the outside. And you have not said any plan for that.
I have said that we absolutely plan for our principal to be in that relationship, and we will continue that relationship as well as with the PTA. We are here to.
A relationship is lovely. It doesn't make a difference. It has to come with funding and security and safety. Relationship, unless you're telling us we have a budget and we're going to staff somebody 24/7 standing outside who will ensure that when our clients need to leave the shelter to go during the school day to smoke, that they're not smoking over by the play area, or they're not smoking, that they find, if you're telling us that you have an escort service for that, or that you have, what is the exterior plan?
And I think going further, this is unprecedented. And so the locations that you have dealt with that were across the street, 2 blocks away, you can't equate to 10 feet from door to door. 5 feet from door to door. You know, the other locations, I Google map the 83rd Street site, they have a closed playground. They don't have an open play street where anyone can walk through that play street. You know, there's no barriers, there's only one security guard. And so I think this situation is unprecedented. And that's why parents, that's why seniors, that's why stakeholders are frustrated, because they don't want to be a case study. They want something that works, right? And so we're asking DSS to make changes for something that we can understand and that has a track record of working. And a lot of parents are scared because they're going to worry every single moment of the day, say, we don't know if this works or not. This hasn't been tried, and I don't want my child to be the first to have to deal with this, right? And that site, you know, in greater context, if you actually look at the site location and what's been happening to that area, there's a massive construction site at 250 Water Street that the parents and the children and the neighbors have been fighting, dealing with for the past 3 years. And if construction ever starts at that site, you're gonna have a headache of a neighborhood, you're gonna have a chaotic neighborhood. And one security guard is not gonna be able to deal with the construction site across the street and also having to deal with potential dangers, if any, coming from the safety, right? And so no one wants to be the first case study. And that's why we're frustrated. That's why this community is angry. And that's why we're asking you to go back to the drawing board and think about another solution for this site. If it's affordable housing, great. If it's another population, great. We want you just to go back to the drawing board and take what you heard today into consideration and make those changes accordingly.
Sorry.
Some of us are concerned that it's a profit-making enterprise masquerading as social benevolence, and the concern is gonna be profits.
Sorry, my name is Maria, and I have 3 kids actually at Peckslip that range from 3 years old, 4 years old. I'm upset, sorry guys, I don't mean to get upset, but it's really like, it's very upsetting to me. But I have a 4-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and I have a 8-year-old that all goes to Peckslip. I'm obsessed with the school, and I'm not moving them. I refuse to move them because of something that may or may not happen. We won't let it happen. But with that said, I know we are all worried, but you don't see the faces of our children every day. I have a daughter that leeches onto my hand if she passes a mentally ill person on the street, or somebody that has just screamed at her because, she walked too close to them, or somebody that spit out her shoe. My daughter is terrified. The last place I want my daughter to be scared of is going into her school that she loves. I have a son that talks about the shelter opening like everybody in the school knows. That's terrifying to me to know that my kids are going to go into that school and worry who they see on the play street. They're not gonna wanna go outside. I know best friends of mine that have children that have high anxiety. Do you think that this is gonna make them feel any better, seeing slumped over people possibly on the street, or people, looking at them differently? Or we all know the homeless, we understand, and we are all friends with, like, we explain it to them. I don't want to have to explain walking into a school saying, it's okay, honey, I will be back. Just don't go outside today. Or it's okay, honey, as soon as you see me, run to me, because I don't want somebody standing out there to you, or, and talking to you or whatever. We face it every day in the city. We should not have to face it in the 6 hours our children are at school at all, period, the end. And I'm going to assume that maybe none of you have children on the board or whoever that with Breaking Ground that attached to a school. If you do, we have actually open enrollment. If you guys want to come and join, send your children there, and tell me how you guys are okay with it. I would be happy to advocate for you coming to our school, because I don't think that if you did, you would think this was a good idea either. So.
Okay, thank you. It's 8:20. Yeah, next.
Hi, I'm Johanna Marone. I live in South Beach Towers. I've been there for 49 years. I live directly across the street from the hotel. I had pictures taken of me actually in the front. Residents and from people who were at the hotel. Anyway, my question is that, you know what, your demographics, I'm retired now. I'm out and about every single day. I'm out in the community. My tribe here, every day. And I see the homeless. But my question is, like, the way you make it sound, it would be like every 10 feet that I would see a homeless person. And actually, that's not the case. Are these reports coming in? Like, I know of one homeless person that was in front of our Lachlan's store, or right up the block from us on Fulton Street. He was there every day. So is it like a repeat phone call, and that's what gives you that huge demographic? And why is it that, that's the other question. Why from 14th Street? Why not, Safe Haven? Look at the area. 14th Street, it's too much. It really is too much, because like you said, yeah, then you're gonna get the demographics. Just do, the downtown area, the lower Manhattan area. Take a look at that. And like I said, is that like a possibility? That's why you've got such huge numbers?
So the numbers I presented were specific to the actual subway stations. So over the past,
Fulton Center?
Yeah.
Fulton Center, Staten Island Ferry, all the different centers are.
If there's so much real estate, make it real estate in the Fulton Center, maybe you can come up with a creative idea there.
Because there has been an uptick in homeless activity. And you saw by the graph that Aaron showed, that there are hotspots around the city where between our 311 calls and our outreach providers, these are confirmed interactions with folks that are experiencing
But they
things.
come on the proper maybe and go, thank you. One person.
That's why I made sure to put the word unique up there, because those are individuals, and that's for the past year. So about 20.
That's the other
For the past.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, apologies, I gotta find my
Okay.
cursor.
I don't know if that was an answer or, it's what you're gonna get tonight, though. So, go, 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. My name's Frank Scotto. I have two young girls at Exlip. My question is for you. I own bars, and when I apply for a liquor license, I'm asked to come to the community board and ask the people if this able for approval. And I have to ask people in this room for signatures. I don't know if you ever did that. And most importantly, which I'm outraged at, is I can't get a liquor license within 500 feet of a school. Why, I want you to tell me, why do you think that is? Not as DHS, not as a city, just as, what's your name, Chris? Frank. Why do you think that is? We're talking about those are the laws, we're talking about sexual crimes,
Those are the laws. No, I want to be clear. I want to be clear. It's not that we are doing this purposefully. We are following the regulations that exist.
Not we, you. Why do you think I can't get, it's not a good idea?
I'm not here representing myself, Chris Gonzalez. I'm here representing the city. So let's just be
But you
careful.
can't answer my question just as a.
I'm representing the city of New York.
He is representing.
Not that, they don't pay you enough.
It's not a good
Let me
idea.
get your point, Frank.
I've heard everyone loud and clear.
Okay, you've already asked. Go ahead,
Can
Marianne.
can I ask,
Go ahead. You can answer.
is this Ann Williams? Did she see where this safe haven was gonna be? Did she see where it was?
This is the DHS pipeline.
Okay, let's answer.
The DHS pipeline is reviewed, as I said, by several entities in at DHS and also at City Hall.
So did she see, so she saw this was okay?
Yes.
Yeah. This one, no, an evaluation is made for every site that we put out for a potential housing.
So in other words, there are a few people who evaluated it and said basically it was okay. Go ahead, Marianne. Okay.
I'm Mariana, I'm the co-chair of this committee. I live in Southbridge as well, on Gold Street, one of the hot spots that was listed. Lived in Southbridge for going on 54 years. I am not opposed to the homeless. My mother and I used to buy and cook food every Wednesday and Friday and bring it to City Hall when they were more contained there to feed the homeless. Been supporting them a long time. That said, vehemently opposed to this location. And while we were in support of the 150 Washington, I'm very disheartened to hear that it's just opening without warning. That's
Without the cab being.
and without the cab being set up. That's the distrust that our council member was talking about. We're trying to build a relationship and you keep taking us several steps back, and it's hard to continue to work with you and to defend you in these meetings when that kind of behavior is happening. My question is, since it's going to be open anyway, why can't we monitor that and use real data, real time, right? Real data in real time, what is going on at this shelter? Do we still have a need, not to 14th Street, in this immediate area? And also considering other real data that we have, the incidents that have occurred already on Fulton Street with mentally ill people, the incidents that have occurred in our neighboring communities in Chinatown, closer to the train station. Let's look at real information, since we have it available, monitor that, and then revisit. What do we need? And how can we, and where can we put it?
Justine has her hand up.
Okay, Justine?
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go back to a little bit about what was said in terms of the safety, both at 105, but particularly at the Pexlip location. There was discussion, and this was talking like an hour and a half ago, discussion of having security, certainly in the safe haven buildings that exist, great. But then it was brought up, what about the schools themselves and what about the kids? Because even at 105 Washington Street, there are schools nearby. And while it seems as if we'd be closing the barn doors after the horse ran out with 105 Washington Street, we certainly have power and control, I think, to at least insert, whether it's a resolution, asking our elected officials like Chris Marte to ask or demand, or whatever the right word is, for the agencies to put in any contracts that go forward that the developer, the operator, and whoever's on site has to pay for specific security at the schools. And that needs to be in a contract. You don't let anybody do anything without going forward, because then they can't get around it. Then once it's in the contract, you got a place to go and a place to challenge it. I don't know, once again, if it's possible to require something or even ask for 105 Washington Street. But I think that it's necessary for Peck Slip School. And that's something, I mean, eventually this committee is going to do a resolution. I think that has to be like first and foremost, pay for security outside.
Trustees, that's gonna go through you and Ed.
Yeah.
You can,
That's
okay, perfect.
Jesse's gonna take that on with Morton.
That's perfect. And Tammy, I just would like to just say one little thing. There are many people in this room, or in this room, on this chat, who also participate in a WhatsApp chat. And in that WhatsApp chat, they are extremely disrespectful. They are rude. They are hateful. They are mean. And I really think that that is not acceptable. I know you're waving your hands because you've been the brunt of it. I've been the brunt of it. Tonight, they didn't like the fact that I was on here and it took me till 8:29 to speak. I wait my turn. I know how this board works, but I want to just call those folks out. They know who they are. And there's such a thing as proper discourse. And it's okay to agree and disagree, but it does never, ever, ever allow you to be disrespectful to anybody. Because remember, even our elected officials are putting themselves out there, whomever they are, and the agency workers, yes, it's their job, but they are doing something to help us. And darn it, you all owe respect to everybody you deal with. And I'm sorry to have to say that, but I do.
All right, stop. Justine, thank you. Stop.
Okay, it is 8:28.
It is 8:28. Is there anything
Is there
that
something, you both,
has
wait,
everybody said?
I have not.
she has not, go
I
ahead.
have not. I do have two questions that will probably be for both Chris's and the community board, but before I get to that, I'm just gonna mention, I know we're not talking about 105 Washington. My name is Jen Gilbert. I've been part of this for months and months. But what I do want to say to the people at Peck Slip is you gotta keep plucking away, because we do not have, and fairness, we do not have the support of CB1 or Marte or anyone, and we've been on our own for a long time. And that being said, is that you're still hearing the same rhetoric, gaslighting that we've heard. Part of what we've been told, before I get to my questions, is that we are supposed to engage 311 and 911, as you've heard from other people, that has failed us. So it's opening in 2 days. You ask about having documentation. We will soon be your documentation. We will be the numbers. We will be the people that are probably seeing an increase, as we've already seen. We've already been dealing with. My question is based on going back to City Hall. We'll just say City Hall. Going back to City Hall with what you've heard from the community around this shelter, what do you foresee as the possibility of this being changed? Has it ever been done? Because that I'm not familiar with. Everybody here has a
The
little bit
population
Just gonna talk to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me talk.
of, meaning change the shelter at Peck Slip or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And to address.
And then,
Let me just answer this quickly. Specifically for me, 105 Washington was initiated in the previous administration. When I came in as a council member,
I don't disagree.
I worked with Whitney and Colleen to make sure that everything we knew, they knew, whatever we could fight for, we're fighting for. And even potentially next week, we're gonna have a meeting with the people that make the decisions, not just at the Safe Haven, but at the Hercs across the street from it, to hear communities'
Well,
concerns.
let me ask you
and
this,
how
to
improve our-
clarify, you're advocating for us, let me just clarify. Have you advocated, by the way, what we've been advocating for is not that there's not a safe haven. You're advocating for not a safe haven next to it, directly, literally 5 feet. Our community has said it's coming, but we need the reassurances that we needed. We asked
again, about sex offenders, what can be done, not in a lot of assurances. We've asked for a curfew for good reason, and I forget the third. And none of that has been met. Lowering the bed count, thank you. Because that's 84 beds next to 1,000-bed migrant shelter that's literally next door that has changed our neighborhood. But I'm asking the question, if you want to respond to the first, what have you done?
Let them respond to both.
Okay, so we have written a letter from our office, and next week, it took a lot of time planning because the administration runs slow, and because there's a lot of stakeholders, right? There's DOH, Department of Health, there's DSS, there's people from the mayor's office that all have to come to this meeting, and we just don't want a community liaison to show up to this meeting. We are asking for deputy mayors to come to this 105 Washington meeting that we're planning, people who can make the decision and actually hear the community. So yes, it's taken a long time, but we've been advocating for this, and we're actually going to deliver on the ask to have the community meeting that you guys have been wanting.
What are the chances that
And
that's
so
change?
for this site, there was supposed to be a safe haven site on Grand and Bari in Chinatown. The community advocated, we wrote letters as well. It was changed to a migrant shelter. It's a migrant shelter still today with families. A lot of the kids go to PS 130, PS 124. It's temporary, but it's been in existence for 2 years now, and there's no foreseeable end that I know that location is going to end. So things have changed, and I have advocated with community to change certain spots. As Tammy and as our chair said, like, the community board in my office is against this site and this location, and we're gonna do whatever we can. I'm sorry, the former council member probably did not pay attention to your 3 demands, but we have tried to advocate as strongly as possible since coming into office. And so,
And I'll be clear, CB1 did support a shelter at 105 Washington.
We know that.
We were told that CB1 does not have a safe haven, and the city had bought the building. We asked for, you can all guess, affordable housing. But we were also told by the last administration and the current administration that every community board has to have at least a safe haven. And none of the private shelters, because we've had a private shelter in Tribeca for 40 years, that is part of the neighborhood and no one seems to complain at all about it, right? It's been there for 40 years. We've had that one there. But the city doesn't see that one because it's not theirs. It's run by another group, another nonprofit who owns that building. So we were told the city has purchased the building, and we said, okay, we support having a shelter there. We also supported having.
Other specific asks.
Yeah.
That didn't come to fruition.
Right, additionally, it was pre-COVID and pre-migrant crisis.
That's
So
right.
all of the parameters were different.
Yeah,
But see,
and then, hold on, and then let me just be really clear. A community board is advocacy. We are an advocacy organization. Once it leaves here, one of the reasons why we tell you all the time, the community, anybody when it comes to liquor licenses and everything, file 911 and 311 complaints, because the city, as you saw, and Chris actually noted in his presentation, and I did not cue him to do that, it's 311 and 911 calls. That is how the city tracks data. They don't track, if you come for a liquor license and you say, this guy has kept me up every night for 2 weeks, the state liquor authority could care less because you never filed a report. The only thing that we can do as a community board to show the city, this is a hotspot, this is a problem. It's not by how many times you complain. It's not by how many things you say in a WhatsApp group, X, Twitter, Instagram, posting videos, Citizens app. None of that makes a difference.
Considered a hotspot since we've been calling for the last year?
I don't know yet. Like, I was really interested to see this slide. This is the first slide that we've seen. There's so many things that we advocate. If you call the office will tell you, the first thing to do is file a 311 complaint. When you file 911, you have to be A, the person who's affected, and B, willing to sign a complaint. I mean, it's a hard thing to understand because if you live in other places, it doesn't operate that way. But this is the way New York City operates. It's not a gated community. We're an open community. People are everywhere, from tourists to homeless, to people who work here, live here. And if you You have to try, that's the only way that we roll. I wish that if the community board ruled the world, I think all of us might be paid and we'd run the city very differently, but that's not the way it works, and I'm sorry.
I'm gonna add one thing.
This is the last.
In previous administration, they would ask elected officials,
That's right.
what do you think about this location? In this administration, they don't. The same day the community board got that notification was the same day that my office, that every other elected office got that notification. And it wasn't a notification of, let's have a meeting and what do you think should happen here? It was this is gonna happen here and it's gonna happen too. And so it puts us at a disadvantage because this is how the administration works. However, for this community and for this site, I've been proactive in not only talking to the residents, they held the town hall. I was one of the few elected officials who showed up, listened to the concerns, and then immediately took action on that. If you look at my phone log, I call the mayor's office once a week asking, can I get an update on this? I'm sure Chris hears it. I call them all the time. I email them all the time because I know if we don't push, we're not going to get anything in return. And so we are trying really hard, and Max from my team is working really hard, who's the point person, to try to make a change on this site. That's my commitment that I gave to the residents of Southbridge just a month ago, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do, and that's why I'm here. You go to other safe haven sites in any other community board, most of the time the council member does not show up because he knows how hard those conversations will be. I'm here, I'm present, I'm listening, and I've been taking notes to tell my team what we need to do tomorrow, and we're gonna do it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, and with that, because we've had every.
Is it a question that's been asked?
Yeah, and I think it's a fair question that everyone should be asked. So I have two questions for you. One, could you share the statistics of what other RFPs or what other proposals came through for that RFP? Namely, were there other types of populations that were proposed? And two, and this is for a future looking question I don't think anyone's thought through yet. If we're down here in Battery Park down in the 311 Extreme one, we're building ourselves a case for yet another type of shelter. So what type of public announcement will you make, or how do we find out about RFPs so that we know what's coming without being surprised like this in the future? Thank you very much.
Well, so the RFP process is designed, it's an open RFP, which means people can submit proposals. Those proposals are not, that's just part of request for proposals law and procurement law. Those are not public documents.
So, what is the RFP process itself in public? Like
Yeah, so you can go to the DSS website and look at the open RFP. It should be on our ACOS page. And it'll outline exactly what the terms are and what kind of the general parameters are there. And what the procedure is to submit a proposal. And so that part is absolutely public, but the individual proposals are not public.
So this didn't have an RFP because they brought you the contract, so there was no RFP.
Yeah, there is, go look at the website. The Department of the Department of Social Services has an open RFP. That's not a singular it's not like it's an RFP to repair this laptop and only this.
So it's not for a specific building.
It is an open one that encourages developers and nonprofits to bring to the city locations. It is an open RFP that is good for all 5 boroughs.
So, okay, that's what I meant. It's not.
It doesn't have their name.
That's what I meant.
Correct. Address it.
So it'd be, say,
Correct.
One more
Very quick question. So I want to know whether this contract goes through the mayor's office of contract services. If it does it have an official public hearing date? And how did you announce it? Because the law required you to publish the date, the public hearing information on daily newspaper and community newspaper. Did you do that or not? My second question is that when you discuss the need for this particular demographic, we have 2 operating jails in our district in CD1, if not 3. And when parolees are released from the jail, many of them know where to go, so they stayed in below 14th Street. So no matter how, because of this district has this particular situation, no matter how many shelter you build, you will never satisfy the need. That's the concern I have. So can you please answer this two?
So the first question, yes, every contract has to have a hearing and it goes through the mayor's office of contracts. Once it goes to the mayor's office of contracts and a public hearing happens, that contract then gets registered, gets sent to the controller and registered by the controller.
When is the date?
I don't know.
I don't believe it's.
Could you please get back to us with the date and timeline for the process, so we can share it?
Did you?
So,
in the newspaper?
so there are notice requirements for those mock hearings. Once we're at that point where the contract will go before and require a hearing, then we can actually share that information.
But let's be clear, the goal is for everybody to reach out to the deputy mayor, so we don't get to that point. And so when we get to a point.
What point will that do to the deputy mayor? I don't know. It's Mayor Adams and our elected officials. It's not the deputy of the mayor.
The last comment for the night on shelters is going to be from someone who is not only a neighbor, but he is also related to the founders.
Hi, Anthony Hannigan. So I think it's important to point out for everybody in this room is that Breaking Ground and DSS do not need community board approval to open this location.
Thank you.
Breaking Ground and DSS have a history of opening locations without community board approval. So I want to formally ask you is, given the opposition here, will you do that here? Or can you guarantee that you at least, come? You got all of our letters. There were hundreds of letters. There's hundreds of emails. We asked for something different, specifically the Breaking Ground has another location, the Dominic on St. Mark's, which caters to people who are elderly and suffer from chronic homelessness, formerly homeless. Why can't we do a location like that? It's like a middle ground. And if you would agree to that and agree formally that you will not proceed against community board approval, I think that would appease a lot of people in this room.
Community board wishes.
Yeah.
Right, and so I hear you. Clearly, I don't have the authority to do that. So what I can do and what I can commit to is taking all these comments back to the folks that I work with.
The answer is City Hall, the last City Hall.
Yes. So then you have to write it. Hey, guys, let him finish the answer. No murmurs, no rumors. Let him finish, please.
So we will take the information back and figure out what the next steps are. I can't.
Okay, so we're gonna talk also about the questions.
Yeah.
And you will come back next month. At this point, the one thing is the security.
That's gonna go to youth and ed.
Okay, the second question, second question is that we really want to know why we can't have the population change. And that is our major question, I think, right? Population change. Okay.
All right.
Because based on actual data, looking at the other one that's opening anyway, we can see if we still need it.
Okay.
In our neighborhood, not on 14th Street.
Correct.
Thank you, everybody.
Hold on. Any data that DHS has that you can provide that we could share at our full board is Tuesday, September 24th. I recognize it's only 6 days away, but if you have the background data and you have examples of other things, either from Breaking Ground as an information response or from DHS with the data that we asked for the others, we would appreciate that. We will share it at the full board meeting and ensure that it gets to the PTA and anybody who signed in for today's meeting. All right.
Thank you all. I know it's not totally satisfactory because I know you all have more questions.
Right to the deputy.
Right. Please. And come back to next meeting. Try as best as you can, okay?
All right. So let's welcome Marissa.
Yes.
With all these letters.
Absolutely.
And Delaware.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much.
It's all public.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Wait, 1 second, 5 minutes. Hey.
Oh, sorry.
Plus extra overtime. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yay, double pay. Yeah, not really, no, not, but like, you understand here? I'm louder, I've been sitting for 2 hours.
Now you have this.
No, I understand we're all retired, and I promise you I will be incredibly quick. You got a super heavy, I know, we got a really heavy conversation. I want to respect everybody.
Okay, if you need to continue your conversation, please take it outside.
It's gonna have to move it
Take it, 110 is next.
110, yeah, I'm here for one.
Yeah. So please take it outside.
All right, thank you.
All right, so literally just 3 updates from the Department of Sanitation. We'll go through them pretty quickly, then I will happy to answer any questions that you all have. Number 1, starting October 6th for the Borough of Manhattan as well as the Bronx and Staten Island, you will receive curbside compost collection. This is for every single building type in New York City, Manhattan, regardless of the residential units that you have. So that's the same day as your recycling. You can use any bin that's no bigger than 55 gallons with a lid, and you just have to be labeled for compost. Should have brought the stickers with me, but if you need a sticker, let me know. I can bring some over to the community.
I'm sorry, so it has to be in a bin?
Has to be in a bin. Compost has to be in a bin.
Okay.
Yard waste can go in a plastic bag, clear. That's fine. But not a lot of yard waste in Manhattan.
My kitchen on my counter, there's a bin. Do I take my bin downstairs?
No, just a bag. No, you need a real bin.
Like,
Building's gonna be around. Yes, the buildings will have to do that, yes.
Oh, the building.
They need to get the big bin, they need to get a bin, and then has to come up with a plan for all the.
it looks like a recycle bin. Yeah.
It's 100% mandatory.
Right, so the building has to get a bin, it's mandatory.
Does it have to have the sticker on it that you're?
It doesn't need to be labeled for compost, doesn't have to be my sticker.
But it doesn't have to be an official label.
Correct, no, just my labels are free, I'm happy to bring it one.
And how do the buildings know if they have to get a bin?
We've reached out to my job is a little funny because I'm not liaison. Every building here is for 900 units, but yes.
Yeah, they
we've been
do.
speaking with all the building managers.
Even-
That is something else.
Tiny building?
Yeah.
Yes, one to 1,000 plus units.
So this is all residential buildings?
Every residential building has, well, yes, has to.
And all building types?
Correct.
Lofts, condos, co-ops?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so now let's go. So we have a bin, we get a bin.
Yes.
The building gets the bin from the city or the
No.
building gets?
You gotta get your own bin.
You gotta get your, so what's the parameters of the bin?
Just no bigger than 55 gallons.
Okay, no bigger than 55. Okay. And then, so now we have this bin and it has to have a lid, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what happens? When does this bin go out?
Every time your recycling day is. So you'll have one once a week.
Okay.
It is up to the building manager to decide how that's being kept inside your building. Again, if you have a very large building, as we were just talking about some folks around here, that's a lot of compost. I understand that.
And so in my apartment, I have my compost.
Right.
What do I have to put my compost in to put in the community bin?
You could just use use a paper, I'm gonna go little, I don't know how much food we're eating, but let's say a paper bag or a plastic bag is fine.
And so it's open, it smells.
Correct.
Sure?
Yeah, it's going in that bin.
No, but.
No, not that.
My individual composting.
Goes
You know,
into your bin.
You know what I can't.
And then you put it in.
What I'm saying is gonna smell.
No,
You know what they have, you know what I use? They sell bags with the scents. They smell.
No, but just because I've got the bag, that doesn't mean my neighbor will like it.
I think it's gonna be up to your building manager. That is up to them.
Our garbage stinks, so.
Right, it's the same as what's happening right now, you're
But we
putting.
don't put our garbage in the building. We put our garbage outside. Oh,
But your building is different than.
Wait a second, isn't that wrong?
no,
Because-
on garbage night, we are responsible, each apartment is responsible for putting their garbage outside.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you put it into the street bin, because I know that.
No, no, we put actually.
She's talking about her business.
So that means that then, you know, somehow you have to figure out how to make tenants only put the garbage in the bin on recycling night, so it's not sitting there and stinking in our lobby, next to our mailbox.
Anything else on compost? Because now we're gonna get to the real thing that's gonna make you upset. So-
I got a question.
Just the bin and the recycling and the 50 by gallon with that's it?
Yes, is our building gonna be fined if they don't do it?
Yes.
Starting in 2025. No, I mean like 2025.
That's January. So suppose people don't compost.
Then you'll get it.
No, but why do people have to?
How do you know?
Yes,
So
okay.
better for the environment.
No, I agree.
City council.
It's mandatory. What Jared was saying, because like the same way that we have to recycle, now we're gonna have to.
Correct, that's such a big deal.
People recycle.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah, you. I got it, okay, good.
That's a great, question for you. So if you're taking, organics out of the waste stream largely, right, or separating it,
Yes.
then why is containerization for the rest of the garbage actually necessary?
What does that mean?
Because that's my next point.
I figured it was.
Right, so we're basically saying, the whole point of residential containerization and containerization in general, right? One big factor is to get rid of the rats, right? We don't want rats to be eating, or the food, right? And food is what would go into your trash. But starting October 6th, which comes before the residential containerization rule, everybody, all 5 boroughs are mandatory and have to separate their food scraps, which is the food. They're not gonna be eating plastic, right? They're not eating your furniture. That's gonna be separated in a bin, because that's always mandated to be in a bin. So the question is, why does the rest of your trash have to be in a container? No. So why does it have to be, that has not been brought up yet to me, and it's not in the 6-page, talking point. Well, that's a really great point. Regardless, also, the whole point is to get the blight of black bags off our streets.
Right, but if I may.
And the mountain, 100%.
So, there are photos, you can see them out front of, Independence Plaza on Greenwich Street. There are now on the sidewalk, I'm not, sorry, off the curb. That's a long meeting. I can see.
Now, it's only been like almost 3 hours.
There are huge dumpsters now,
Right.
6 of them on the side of the street. And that you've seen, there was this New York Times article earlier this year that showed what the containers would look like for some of these especially large buildings. And it is removing parking spaces and replacing them with these graffiti magnet, trash bins, basically. I would love for us to do a resolution not in support of containerization, because the need doesn't really exist once you take the organics out of the waste stream. Rats are not interested in.
Okay, I'm not following it. What are you gonna do with the rest of your garbage?
Yeah, it's not just
What
about.
we've been doing for 200 years, 400 years. It's
That's
bad
it's
as
a
garbage.
major problem that people want to solve, though. That's why we're talking about.
Right, but the problem is once you take the
It's
organic.
not just about the rats. It's about the piles of garbage that.
Yeah, why do you want piles of garbage instead of like a garbage thing?
Because you're talking about the streets being filled with garbage bins.
But you said that it's in the street. It's not, so, and we don't care about, we're getting a parking in cars.
Sidewalks.
Some
Some
don't.
of us don't care about losing parking spaces, some of us do.
It's not just like, my argument is, I don't think the aesthetics of the garbage bags are that much worse than the aesthetics of the streets completely filled.
All right, you know what? This conversation, you never got this question before, maybe you wanna get an answer.
So
Get back
everybody.
to I want to go back to the recycling, to the composting. So everybody, my understanding was that you only composted things that hadn't been, like, you couldn't compost meat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I really should have brought the sticker. No, I want everything.
All right, so.
Nobody online can hear you because you're all talking.
Okay, my other understanding was that all food composting wished towards growing things. Now I've been told that the composting will now go towards energy. Is that true? Yeah.
What does that mean, Pat? Go towards energy?
Does, but from what, most of it goes, this is where I landed. Most of it goes to, give me 1 second, because my eyes are crossing, I'm sitting here. Most of it is going to Fresh Kill though, and that's where we are making compost.
Still?
Well, Fresh Kill is huge.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge, but that, I'm doing it for not having to.
Okay.
And we do give it back to you, that's 100% correct.
I picked it up, I've been there.
Okay.
Might have to get back to you on that one, I'm really sorry, if I don't understand.
Go ahead, Esma.
So when you say you're gonna make compost, you mean like with worms and browns and greens and like?
Right, yeah, we use the word compost too much. The organic material coming out of your house, we will turn into compost. Correct, through the machinery that we have and whatnot.
And then give it back to people?
100%, we do that now.
Or sell it to them?
No, we don't sell.
Taxpayer.
No, you get it for free, schools get it for free, Parks Department will get it free, you gotta come pick it up. But we give it to you. Where do we pick it up?
Fresh Kill.
At the moment, you can. Or there's a spot in Queens, not remembering off the top of my head, or 459 North Henry Street in Greenpoint. The people that are getting priority though are Queens and Brooklyn residents, because you didn't give me really any compost yet. You don't get free compost.
Yeah, you didn't give it.
Take after we've given you compost before we get your.
When we started in Brooklyn, we started, that was last October, but the spring we were giving it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's my question of compliance. Has there been any study done on how they expect people to comply, and is there any penalty for not complying?
Yeah, there will be penalties.
Then
There'll be a
cost
first
of 20
people to pay a fine.
That's the building, not the individual.
Correct. Yeah.
They know.
You guys know that you and your individual unit are not adding to the large bin of organic material? I won't know that. I won't personally know that because I can't go inside the building. DSNY enforcement cannot go inside the building if I can't see it from the sidewalk or from the street. I can't do anything. So I won't know that you personally, you're telling me now though, but I.
They're coming at.
Recycle,
Yeah.
and people do it.
Do it.
And people didn't think that we could stop smoking in public places.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just getting late.
Let's not get to see how
All
All right, it's just starting November 12th, residential containerization. That is for buildings with 1 to 9 units. I know we're in Lower Manhattan. I don't know how many buildings that are here even fall under that, but starting November 12th, everybody that is in a building with 1 to 9 residential units, including single-family homes, you must containerize your trash. It must be in a bin with a lid. So that is the official NYC bin. You do not need to buy that one until June 1st, 2026. You need a bin, so if your building already has bins, if you live in a co-op with 4, say prices in 1 second. If you have about 4, units or whatever, you gotta make sure you're using a bin. This bin, the 45-gallon bin, nope, I lied to you. The 35-gallon bin is $45. The 45-gallon bin is $55.
They can find that online.
Yes, you can, but I just like to get that right.
Use the city bin.
So don't need to use this bin until June 2026.
Oh, so-
So it's a year and a half,
June 1st?
2026.
But the prices are subsidized by the city.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
These
They're
are
lower,
cheaper if you buy them.
Yeah, they're cheaper than
They're
like.
cheaper than if you went to Home Depot.
Correct, yeah. Ours are cheaper.
You lying.
I got a question. So,
Yes, I'm sorry.
I support composting, but my concern with composting is in these bins, what's to stop rats from chewing through it?
They're cool. You see those?
No.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
No. Yes, the models that we use and with business it's harder for them to get in it, correct? A rat can fit and chew through steel.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So, yes, is it gonna be the best? I will say, I live in Brooklyn. We've been using the bins. I don't see any rats at all on my block. We're separate.
Okay.
You know, I will say it does help. Keeping it separate definitely does help.
Okay.
Because at the moment, you're not forced to put your trash in a container yet. You're not forced to do that yet. We are removing that food source. And it definitely has made a difference in Queens and Brooklyn. I know that's a completely different boroughs than what you all are living in here in Manhattan, right? Completely different. Your buildings look different, right? We're not talking about 1 to 2 family homes, but we have seen a difference in those other 2 boroughs.
So-
And I'm hoping we'll continue to see that difference here. Yeah.
But when we take away their food supply in black bags, and they're only gonna be in those bins,
Right.
they will evolve. That too. Yeah, the raccoon, they'll team up.
So wait, so okay, we know about so 1 to 9 units, of which we have very few of those.
That's what I figured.
Right, so
This is my challenge.
people are gonna still put their black bags outside.
Yes, if you live in a unit, in a building with 10 or more units, keep putting out the black bags.
Okay, without composting.
Correct. But composting will still have to be containerized, correct?
Right, yes. Anything else? Any questions? John, did you?
Well, I was answering his question because you mentioned IPN, he talks about the bins. We have to have those bins because we have a incinerator that goes down and goes into those bins. It doesn't go into a black bin. And then we roll them out, and I'm sorry you don't like them on the street, but they come and they pick it up a special machine and they have.
I don't mind them, but.
I'm just telling you, you talked about that, and I lived there for 49 years. And I'm saying, I'm sorry you don't like it, but if you would bring that up for a vote, I'm gonna be totally against it.
I'm saying, once you have it.
Right,
Take it personal.
Okay, the other one is
Yes, with the bins, I mean, not the big metal ones that
Right.
they use, but,
Regular bins.
but like, let's say that bin.
Yeah.
Please have the sanitation workers make sure that they put them back and not tossed. Okay, I'm just telling you, I lived in Queens, sometimes they're tossed, and they just have to be neatly placed back. Okay.
It's just one last thing, I'm so sorry that I have to say, it's just, I don't know who here has a commercial business, but if you are a commercial business owner, your fines will increase if you're a repeat offender. So if you broke the law once, that's totally fine by us. If you keep doing it, so currently if your first offense is $50, before your second offense was $100, and then it just kept being $100, you know, on top of that, every other offense after that. We're picking that up. Second offense is gonna be $300, and then your third offense plus that will be $500. So the third, fourth, fifth, and so on will keep being $500.
Is the fee to individuals the same as the fee to buildings? You can-
No.
No, this is just for commercial.
But individuals don't get it.
Right, what was the problem with the commercial?
Oh, so that is the commercial one?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Pretty low, like
I
you
know,
might
it
just
seems
say, screw this, I'm not gonna bother.
It's the same with scaffolding.
It is, yeah, let me, that's your point,
Well,
yes.
How often? I mean, $500 a week?
Yeah, every week.
As many times as I see it.
Yeah.
You make the money off
You don't do anything, and that's cleanliness and sidewalk obstruction.
I would still bump it up.
So,
That's the city council, I can't do anything about the.
right, anyway, so where do we get this information? Besides you?
Well, I did send to Zach, sorry, I sent you the 3 flyers, you could totally send that out to everybody on the list, that's up on there. So you have all these flyers with pretty much the bare minimum information and the website, which is super helpful. And our website is very helpful as well, that has all that.
Your website.
Actually, I have no idea, I Google it every day. Get some wine? I'm so sorry.
Any other questions? Making first for you?
No, and I didn't get to get all of that.
Rats and we love discussion of that.
You love.
Why ice killing the rat? Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you use that, I mean, it's fine.
No, we wanted, we thought the city was gonna use the dry ice. How does that work? They eat it?
No,
they suffocate.
I see them too. Yes.
We'll tell you later. We gotta get some. All right, so. All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. What's the part of 110? I'm so sorry. This ended up being more than we knew.
You should have put them on first, next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah's here.
The agenda,
Sarah.
absolutely.
Or just.
First, the agenda.
Hang on, I do need to say, we have to speak one at a time, or Al's not gonna pick people up, and we won't have a recorded meeting in the best quality that we need. So please, let's get back to one at a time. Thank
Okay,
you.
so we're going 110. Okay,
There's 5 minutes too.
let's make it fast.
Yeah, I'm Alex, nice to meet you all. Alex Crowe representing the owners of 110, so I'm project manager there, managing the fit outs.
So what happened is
What building?
the coffee shop didn't come.
Okay, what you did, yeah.
Okay, who's renting the space that is being, the building's being refabbed for
The ACS, or the Administration of Child Services.
child services, right?
Yeah.
And you're representing the developer,
The developer, yeah.
Right.
Well, the owner, yeah.
the owner, okay.
Yeah, but we did ask
We
for
have
tenants.
and tenant, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so to make it real fast, Sarah, tell us what your complaint was.
It's absolutely horrendous, their construction.
Noise.
No, forget even the noise. That's
Just
the,
Construction.
the audacity they've taken over. So I don't know if you're familiar with the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so John, they decided sometimes to take over Gold, put their trucks and block all traffic with their trucks.
Unannounced.
Forget it, they don't even have a permit. And when I went down, and I know my permits, you know that, and they said, what are you gonna do? You're gonna call the police? Ha, ha, ha. That's why I moved out of the city.
Is it your people?
I was gonna say, who said that?
That is the guy who's standing there to put the traffic between John and Gold.
So the traffic flagger?
The flagger guy?
He's one of the guys that works there.
Okay.
I have a picture of the truck and everything.
You have the picture?
Of course I do.
Can you
And,
send it?
yeah, and like they be coming with their big New Jersey plates and the noise, and they always forget there is a children's school for disability.
What time is the noise? Time is, right.
It's all day. It's all day.
What time does it start?
Well, they start at 7. 7 Platt starts at around 6 now. So you have. AM?
Yeah.
AM? AM.
6 a.m.?
Yeah,
So tied to the 7 Platt, see, this is the issue what we're having. We have a construction between 7 Platt, which is on John Street, and then we have 110 William. And so you have one block between Gold and Cliff. It is becoming the wild, wild west. And as they all say, any construction worker, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call? You know, you're not gonna call the police.
But there's two things going there, building that humongous building there with this.
And they have complete disregard of everyone and the children. I have such a big problem because that school, it's a commuter school, kids with disability, and they have a lot, these kids, God bless them, they're noise.
Okay, but I'm sorry. So let's talk about just 110 only.
Okay, that's fine. 110, they block the whole street. They block.
Now, which street are they blocking?
John.
Street. But I think she's mentioning Titus, because Titus is on John and Gold. So once they block, the perpendicular, John is only one lane, as it is. So
We need Alex to go back with specific.
And Gold Street. Do not take-
What's your ask?
Do not have random trucks block Gold Street because your trucks are already on John between William and Gold.
Correct,
Yeah.
so we have like a DOT permit for
Yeah,
our
we-
loading dock between, William and, Gold on John Street. It sounds like your issue is with more trucks backing up while they're waiting to get in the loading dock or something like this.
Stopping.
In Gold, is that
Yeah,
right?
stopping in Gold,
Yeah,
parked in Gold. And now they're doing work and taking some of the recycling and taking some of the wires and taking whatever they're taking and just stopping on Gold.
On Gold, the little tiny that corner. Wait. So I don't understand, because Gold Street is a, east-west? East-west?
No.
North, south. So if Gold was up, how can cars go?
They'll pull up on the sidewalk like.
Oh, yeah.
What's the cars
to get by?
The truck will be like.
Stout is, do you know where Stout is?
Stout.
Stout.
yeah.
Do you know that?
And,
Yeah.
That's where they, that's what.
But can cars get by on Gold?
No.
What? Right, so that's what I'm saying. So-
Nobody can go.
Okay.
It's, okay, I thought we were sort of talking about the dock, but obviously Gold Street, the transport and cars loading up there. We'll definitely review it with all our contractors and like brief everyone and workshop it and I have no idea why they would be stopping there to be.
And so every single day, there are
So
trucks.
this happened, last Tuesday, on September 10th.
Yeah.
Tuesday, September 10th.
Yeah,
This happened, and then they did it again, on the, well,
I've also seen what she's referring to where
Photos as well.
I've been on foot, because I'm always going back and forth at the post office and stuff like that, or the grocery store in the corner. So I've seen where like somebody wants to make the turn onto Cliff from John, and somebody will randomly come out and say, okay, one more person, because I'm closing the street. And it's like, who are you to be closing the street? It's like random people closing the street.
Random, a flagger,
It's like,
not them.
No, well, it'll be somebody.
Because I have to say, when I worked on Cliff, we also had a problem.
It'll be somebody.
And
And they go get out.
I only want to blame them for what's that.
I live on the corner of.
They don't have anything like identifying them with a specific crew.
We have flaggers, yeah, we have flaggers.
Yeah, but does it have your company's name on it?
Or something on it.
Savannah, like, High-Vid Savannah, right? They will, yeah.
What's Savannah?
Savannah, or sorry, Savcon, it'll say on there.
Yeah, but it's been like what appears to be random people, not like, it's not like Con Ed, like I'm closing, it's like a random guy, like, okay, one more car, through, I'm closing the street, of course.
Savcon, C-O-N. So they're the.
Okay, because when I was working on Cliff, we had random people stopping. Okay, so Patrick is online. I'm gonna come back to you, Sarah. Patrick?
Hi, Pat. Hi, everybody. So sorry I'm joining remotely, but as it happens, this works out well. So if you'll just bear with me for 1 second, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So hold on, I'm gonna flip around and you guys are gonna see the problems, okay? As soon as I can figure out here, I can't figure out how to flip this around. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but here's the condition on John Street, okay? You have the entirety of one half of John Street taken up.
We can't hear you because everybody's talking. It switches to us when we talk, so be quiet.
Okay, so let me just bear with me for 1 second because I can figure out how to do this. Here we go. Here's the condition on John Street, all right? So you guys can see how one half of the street is taken up. Now, it'll happen as we're talking through this, but as cars come down here, people are crossing right here in the middle of John Street to get to this portion of the construction, that barrier that was already here on 80 John Street. There are no flaggers at Gold Street. Sometimes during the day, they have a flagger down there at the stop sign on Gold Street, but that person cannot prevent anybody from walking down the sidewalk because you have that residential entrance. And here you go. Here's the problem. These people are going to come through. They don't even look. They can't see a damn thing. And there are trucks and cars popping around there. And somebody's going to get killed. I mean, I've been saying this for months, and no one is listening to this on the ownership side. In addition, and I know we've had some evidence of this put forward, but a couple of, I don't know if it was a month or several weeks ago, the scaffolding here at 80 John Street was struck by a truck because I'm not sure what kind of big trucks can get through that space, but not many. And there was a partial collapse of this 80 John Street sidewalk shed because of the narrow area that's here. This is SUVs trying to get through it. Now, imagine a box truck or a bigger truck. Here comes a biker who can't see anything, but who's about to try to navigate around there with no flaggers. It is utterly insane and utterly unsafe. All right. So the other point I wanted to make, and Pat, thanks for indulging me. I appreciate it. The other point that I wanted to make is about the letter that we saw from, I think it was the Metropolis group, trying to explain why this has to be on John Street and not here on William Street in front of the building's entrance. The claim is that because William Street is slightly narrower than John Street, it would result in closing William Street in order to put a DOT permitted construction barrier there. They would have to take away the parking, of course, but they claim they have to close the entire street because you can't fit a DOT bin in there. That's amazing. This is the other side of William Street, right? Right in front of 66 John, 59 Maiden Lane. There's a DOT permitted street construction barrier piece taken out. So the explanation doesn't make any sense in the first place as to why this cannot be on William Street. They've never been able to adequately explain why that can't be there. But given these, I mean, incredibly serious and obvious safety concerns, it is, I just cannot believe, unless they're waiting for something bad to happen, why they wouldn't fix this situation. The stuff that Sarah was describing also is happening, but I'm more concerned about the pedestrian safety issues down there and why they can't be right here on William Street, which is what we've been telling them all along.
Patrick, do you remember they also acknowledged that one of the reasons they didn't want to is because their tenant wants to be able to do business as usual, and that will obstruct them? So that's the real reason.
What's that, sorry?
I guess that's more important than safety.
So why keep you on William was because their tenant wants. What, Patrick?
I was being snarky, never mind. Yeah, they're talking about this lobby entrance, which is gonna be for their tenant. And that's fine, I get it. Their tenant wants to use it. And here's the entrance to 110. I get it. They don't want it here. It's unsightly. It's gonna get in the way. But that's an inconvenience to them commercially. The inconvenience to the residents and the safety of the pedestrians who are walking around here, I think that's got to be paramount to the commercial inconvenience to their tenant and their building entrance.
Well, that's what Pat and I said too.
Yeah, I
Strip between Water and William.
All right, so Patrick, appreciate the feedback. But just to recap a little bit, the loading dock size, right? I'm not sure about that loading dock that you're looking at across the street, but the loading dock that we've got there is sized. It's a DOT approval for that because of the size of the fit out that we're doing. So it's a very large fit out for ACS. They're taking 640,000 square feet, which basically is just a full-time operation where there's going to be trucks in there, 2 trucks in there at all times, most of the day. We're sort of just gone through it today, and that loading dock is in operation per our permit from like 7 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. at night. On rare occasions, they'll have a truck there. They have to apply for an after-hour variance in order to get approval to do that.
So they have an after-hour variance.
They'll have an after-hours variance for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you confirm that? Because a lot of times y'all say y'all have one and you don't.
And the other thing, why do we have to have an after-hour variance? What's going on that it's imperative that they work at this time?
So what they do right now, what NASCAR would be doing, I imagine, is asbestos abatement. So the building's got asbestos in it. They always say it during night time, when it's shut off the yeah.
Wow. No, literally nobody cares. That's for your time.
All right.
Well, actually, it's worse than
Hear me out. So the other side of it with the parking and just sort of the proposal to do the loading dock on William Street there is parking there. There is actually authorized state parking there as well. And the street here, which we're looking at, is wider. John Street is wider.
But
So
we were told only slightly.
yes, like, but the reason why we did there, it is wider and it's for like emergency vehicle, like egress and access through there, like, so.
But then they have the bump out on the other side of the street. On the other side of John Street, they have the bump out that Patrick just showed you.
On that side, yes, but I'd say that loading dock on that side he showed is much smaller because of the volume and the scale of their work.
So the width is narrow.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Not the street, but the width of their bump out is
Yeah,
narrow.
so I get what you're saying, and I see what people are doing and walking and all this sort of stuff, and, is the concern like primarily
There's a
that
couple of
during the daytime where there's like, deliveries happening, if we have a flag and golf.
You see, it's 10 o'clock at night and people, 9:20, and
Yeah.
people are almost getting killed.
Yeah, I
Since it's a 24/7.
I think there should be, and we can review this definitely, like some better signage that like deters people from doing that.
Well, can I comment? I actually live
What
on
would you suggest?
Golden Fulton, and this is where
Oh,
I
okay,
live.
let more.
Yeah, people are basically getting whipsawed between the 2 construction sites, the one on William and then the one on Cliff. You go on, and you see how it goes down, that John Street, goes, west to east. from Broadway down to down towards the seaport. So that car is coming, scooter is going down John Street. And then it goes around, and then it's gonna encounter the second shed. Patrick could show that, the second shed from the construction down in Cliff Street. So you gotta make, you see, you gotta go around one and around the other. Yeah, and that's.
That car is turning,
Yeah.
right there, that's more.
Yeah, that's Gold Street, that's Jubilee right there, the supermarket. No,
Okay,
that's
but
Gold.
their construction is
Where-
only
where-
between, right,
But,
in
you know-
between William and Gold.
Yeah, but the general situation is because of the,
Okay, but we
confluence.
want to know what they can do.
I think, I see what you're saying, there's a bit of a chicane there and people doing it, and everyone sort of laughed at the signage, but I think it's actually very valid, like, you see this thing, right, people are driving down the street, people are riding bikes the opposite way.
Look, they're getting
Could
ready.
be.
You know, yeah, but like,
9:20, how many people are at?
yeah.
So it has to be more than, young people don't read any signs.
Close window.
So it has to cross it, they're not even looking.
Well, they're going down to the bars and stop.
They get hit by a car, so we need to have maybe
I
more.
think there's like some warning sign, tapeage and bollard that offset people
Are they-
across the road at the crossing, right?
Are they
Before
ever
start
able
going down.
the plywood transparent or anything? So
Well, not- Yeah, because they make it transparent, so they can see a car crossing, like that green fence, but that's be transparent.
That has to be impact proof and all that sort of stuff. You could put like some transparent window, like cut windows.
No, but I'm
there and
saying,
stuff.
if you're crossing, you can actually see the cars coming before the cars.
Right, okay, but what's the impact proof, is that city regulation?
Yeah, that's for like,
Dangerous. You
that's
can't.
for cars and bollards. You know.
Oh, that's insane.
I'm talking about above the church there.
Yeah, I know something, the plywood part.
Yeah.
Well, can you cut it, so at least people can see car lights?
That'd be fun.
We could, yeah, do that for sure.
Because that's at least, and some signage, and windows, so they can see the car lights coming at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also,
I'm not saying windows, I'm saying just a full.
There has to be
Guys.
impact proof.
guys, we're not the safety experts. You must have safety experts on your team who can address this better than us just throwing
We do.
ideas out at you.
We certainly do. So we've got a safety firm, they're called Casa Group. And they're the ones who designed this and designed the
Well,
whole loading.
you're safety guys.
They got,
I want to talk
they
about.
got permits over across the line.
It's not good, clearly.
Oh, wait, hold on, Sarah has a
Okay,
question.
so you said you have a variance, is it a DOB or a DOT?
That'd be a DOB variance, I believe.
Exactly, so the problem is you have the trucks outside, you should not have a truck outside. This is how it works, if you want to have a truck and you do, this is what has been happening with 110 William, I've been for the past 10 years. They will have a variance for inside to work at nighttime. They bring the stuff outside and start recycling and doing all the noise outside. So if you have it, do it inside, do not bring out the things outside, that's where we hear the noise.
Yeah, but the noise is even even if they cut it up inside, taking it out, you still hear noise. So
They
they,
cannot take it outside, that's the issue.
oh, you mean not take it out at night?
At night.
Right, exactly.
And they do not have a permit to do anything outside of the
Right.
building at nighttime, and
So,
that's.
well, like, yeah, let me leave that with me. I'll check that. They should 100% have a permit if they've got a,
They have a DOB from 9/7 to 9/20.
yes, and you can get an after hours variance as well on the.
That's what I'm talking about. They have an after hours variance from 9/7 to 9/20.
So it's set, when you know?
September.
Oh, September 7 to September 20.
It's a DOB one.
But what hours?
Exactly.
It's for after hours, which means they can go throughout the night.
Till 10 o'clock? It's only till 10 o'clock.
Mm-mm. No, after hours variance is overnight.
So, wait.
Trust me, because I had this, I'm
Right.
having this problem.
So why, again, I don't understand why you need a night variance for this. Because you said.
It's not variance is the asbestos abatement, so it is not usual and it's not factored in to do a whole lot of night work after hours like this stuff. This is very unique for the asbestos abatement. We've abated the entire floor that we're doing, all floors and by building, all floors apart from 3, so level 27 and level 28 need to be finished. So they'll literally be done within 5 days.
So we won't have any more night work?
Abatements out, like, once a month or?
No, so what happens is they go through the building, they like remove everything and then like get ready, remove the old fit out and then see the asbestos, they remove it, abate it safely, And then once that's abated, it's done, it doesn't, gonna
So
get.
wait, so
Yeah.
after the 27th and 28th floor are done, you'll be finished with the night variance?
That's not the corner,
Yeah, yes.
That's-
Sorry, yeah.
And what is the estimated
Wild to
fee?
get stuff.
Please. So when you finish with the night variances, you will stop work at what time?
6, they have to.
Per the DOB 6.
So as of, and when do you, and you said 5 days from now, you will be finished?
But your
with the
permit
27th?
doesn't go for 5 days.
Yeah, I know, it goes to 9/20.
Mhm.
So 9/20, today is 9/18.
18.
So you have 2 days
Yeah.
to finish this.
Yeah.
But you said to be the.
So this is what they've got the variance for. We're getting into the nitty gritty a little bit, but so the asbestos abatement it's like floor mastic. And
Oh, believe me, I know what it
yeah,
is.
they initially had forecast, as you mentioned, till 9/20. It's been taking longer to pull up than they anticipated, so they need to extend that.
So this variance is gonna get extended?
That's gonna get extended.
For how long?
Yeah, for another, 5 days, what they're telling us, but with our experience with the other one, the time blew out from.
And when
1
are you
week
gonna
to
put the extinction in?
So, yeah,
Are you gonna do that like tomorrow?
the builders manage all that, yeah, they'll be doing it.
So would you get back to us and tell us how long this variance is for?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's number
Can you get
one.
back to us by the end of your current contract, which is Friday?
Yeah, 100%. I'll say I was
Do
good.
emergency vehicles?
Okay, so your first thing is you're gonna get back to us with how long the
Yeah, the
new,
fire department.
extension will be. Then the second thing is you're gonna talk to your safety people about cutting holes and doing whatever it is to make that corner, because you're looking at it,
Yep,
okay? And then, we have to address Sarah's noise.
and also the rude person, if you have a photo of who it is.
No, it wasn't rude. He was just
Oh.
telling me fact. I have a fact of, who are you gonna call? And he was right, who am I going to call? I know the police. Just please do not have the trucks take over the street. And just like take over Gold Street and stop the traffic.
Could I say?
100%, so that'll be briefed and toolbox to all the
Could
subcontractors.
I say, oh, I can jump in too. All right.
Yeah,
Let Tammy jump.
so let's toolbox and brief all the subcontractors on that. What I will ask, there's so many construction sites around, I don't see any benefit to our guys stopping there, given that our logistics setup. So if you do see someone do it, feel free to take a photo and send it through to us, and we'll work out if they're our contractor or what's going on.
The flaggers.
Yeah, we'll get them in big trouble.
Yeah, no, they are your contractors because the guy confirmed that they belong to 110 Williams. So I know they're your
Okay.
contractors. And your contractors are the only ones that have the New Jersey plates because the 7 Plat, we know their plates and their New York plates and Massachusetts.
Sarah, tell me what your ask is?
To stop people doing that.
Stop people
Yeah.
taking over the streets,
To stop those, to stop.
taking over Gold Street.
Okay,
Yep.
so your ask is stop trucks on Gold Street. Tammy, go ahead.
Could I?
Go ahead. Sorry, bless you.
Sorry.
Pat, could I comment because
Go ahead.
of what is? Gold
Let's let
Street,
Tammy go.
Gold Street is a very,
Morton,
oh,
let's
I
Tammy
thought
go.
you said I should go.
Tammy.
Are you guys aware that there's a pending 5G 32-foot tower being built on the side of 110 Gold Street?
I'm not aware of that.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that.
There is a 32-foot tower being built on the sidewalk outside 110 William.
32.
110 William or 110 Gold?
32-foot 5G
Cell phone, the 5G.
cell phone tower.
Yeah, I'm personally not aware of that.
Yeah.
no.
If you would, I mean, we'll be happy to send you the
Yeah.
paperwork.
Yeah,
If you would not mind letting ownership know as well, because I have a funny feeling they don't know either.
we're,
Supposed to go where?
At 110 William on the sidewalk.
they'll get good phone reception at least, but I don't think it'll
And
be
radio.
too aesthetic.
And radiation.
That's the
Yeah.
point.
Oh, they say no radiation.
Okay, so,
Yeah, if you could.
Sarah, is that your one ask? Is Gold Street?
Don't ask for much. And just like the noise, can we just,
Yeah, can you do something, a noise all day, right? And noise all night?
Yeah.
Okay, so we always ask with any construction
Mhm.
that since you're allowed to start at 7.
Yes.
Do your quietest work at 7 in the morning.
That's what the guys have been trying to do from 7 till 8. If it's not happening,
the problem is it's not the inside, it's the trucks.
so the outside, the noisy, I spoke to the builders today and I said, what's happening? We got this permit from 7 till 6. And I said, we're trying to keep all our noisy work at the loading dock side. starting at 8. And I asked him, I was like, what does that mean? Noisy loading dock versus not? He's like, well, it's like forklifts, booms, containers, like stuff that's just really banging
And
around
remember also.
outside of that 7 till 8. Yeah, and and then
Spring at each other.
There are special needs school.
Mm. Yeah.
Away, like this is just something and the school buses.
Yeah.
So they have to just be aware of that.
Yeah, 100%. And you feel like they're still being very noisy out there at 7.
Tim, did you ask your question?
Mhm.
You did?
Mhm.
What was your question?
If you knew that there was gonna be a.
Oh, the
30
tower, sorry. Gordon?
I just say this in defense of the construction contractor. Gold Street is very chaotic because it's a very tiny, narrow street.
Yeah.
And when anybody moves, either at 30 Gold or 40 Gold or in the building on the corner of John Street, the moving trucks come in and block the street. Also, Jubilee, the little supermarket or grocery store, they get deliveries every single morning. They block the street, unloading their delivery. So I could see perhaps your contractors, your construction trucks might get impeded by those other factors.
Yeah.
The other thing that the real situation that's dangerous, you talk about danger to children going to Peck Slip School. A lot of kids are coming down in the morning. I take my son, he goes to school now in Chelsea. We pass there all the time.
Are we talking about this?
Yeah, no, but I walk past there every day. I go down there to go on John Street and go up. But all the kids in the morning at 7:30, 8 o'clock are coming down streaming towards the Peck Slip School, and they're crossing John Street at that location. And the problem is sometimes there's a lack of coordination between the construction. on
Okay,
Cliff
so hold
Street.
on, stop right there. So why can't we get do we have a flagger out there in the morning?
Yeah, we do. We have a flagger on the corner of Gold Street and the corner of John Street and the corner of John and William.
Okay, so the kids are.
Always during construction.
I don't see a flagger on the corner of Gold Street. There's usually a flagger on Cliff Street and a flagger on.
Which one?
William Street.
Remind me, which one's Cliff Street?
So there's William, Gold,
Cliff.
Cliff.
Well, the guy on Cliff, that's not.
But that's not your construction.
That's not yours.
No, we got two. We got two. We got two. We got one on John and William. We got one on Gold and John. And we have a loading dock manager as well. So he's there at all times.
So in the morning, and what time are the flaggers there?
I've seen, I don't.
The flag is there from the get-go, so from 7 a.m.
Until?
until 6 p.m.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a
So
look at that tomorrow.
just check it out, Morton, and see that whether the flaggers are there.
I will be there tomorrow
Okay.
morning.
Patrick, you still there?
Tell your guy, just flag it and be ready.
Patrick?
Video.
Yeah, no. Patrick? Patrick?
Yeah, that's him.
He's there.
Sorry. I was trying to find the unmute button. Yes, Pat.
Ask, other than this, something to mitigate people getting killed by a car coming down here. Sarah's here and she's talking about the noise and the trucks being, backing up on Gold Street and not letting people go by. What else is your ask?
I mean, again, I come back to the original ask, which is that this should be moved to William Street. I'm not buying the explanation. It's not been documented in any other way than I said so. And, the other safety issue, I don't see how they resolve it, which is how they're going to get trucks through this small slalom area and not continue to have the risk of striking this and potentially collapsing this scaffolding again, which happened, again, about a month ago.
If it was on me, you wouldn't have the wood.
Like, I see what you're saying, but it's also like, if you're gonna hit that, you're not driving on the road, you could hit a pedestrian, you could hit anything, right?
Yeah, but
The trailer, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to respond. That's like saying I can get hit by a bus. Of course I could. That's not the point. The point is that this particular condition has created an unsafe condition for these scaffoldings for trucks to get through here and not strike the scaffolding.
If it was on William, you wouldn't have the whipsaw effect.
Is that your
Yeah.
trailer? That's your construction trailer? That's your office?
No, that's 80 Johns.
That's the
Okay.
facility.
And then, how much longer do you plan to have that permit to take out that lane?
I'm not.
So this situation
On the
for
left.
us,
Yeah.
that will be until the end of construction, which is in the middle of 2025.
Okay.
I have
a
question. To the coffee shop.
The coffee shop, The coffee shop, we have, so we've offered them, a few things. I'm not sure like if they're happy with this commercially, it's like telling everyone what we've offered them, but we've offered them, people can still access it and go down there via our lobby.
Oh.
You can go in our lobby and there's a little, like a stairwell that you can go up and go down. We've offered them like a pop-up space in our lobby as well, so they can have like a grab and go and still have that presence. Yeah, like on ground level, they can have a grab and go with the presence and they can serve all our existing tenants and all our construction workers, because it's like, 200 construction workers, every day going there. And commercially, we've made them.
The subway, that
Yeah.
entrance to the subway is not there.
Yeah, correct. You can enter from within our lobby, but you can't enter from the outside, obviously.
Right.
And then, I'll just leave it to there. I probably don't feel right talking about the commercials of their lease anyway.
Okay, so we are, Patrick, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, we do.
So that's why I'm asking the question, because sometimes when I'm there and I wanna go on the train,
Yeah.
I used to go that way.
Yeah.
But I looked and I didn't see any wayfinders.
There's
that
no
say
sign, there's no
anything.
signs on John,
Let's, we'll go down. Let me action that one for
Very
you.
nice,
Get some
nice.
photos, some nice new ones.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
signs for the subway.
Wayfind for the coffee shop and the subway.
Yeah, we got a bunch in our lobby. We had a lot of them up around the building, but we can look at this after.
Okay, any other asks?
No, thank you, Pat. Appreciate the time and the attention to it.
No problem, Patrick, and if we need to do it again, we will.
For the nighttime use.
Interesting, well, thank
So I don't know, okay, so Patrick's main ask has been
change.
consistently changing it from John Street to William Street. And we still don't have a really clear answer because when you guys measured it, there was a slight difference between the width of the William Street and John Street. I think, Patrick, when you measured it, you found the widths to be the same, right?
It looks
Or when you looked at a map?
No, they're accurate that William in that spot is slightly narrower than John. That's not in dispute. The issue is whether they can still do it regardless of that. And they can. They just choose not to.
Okay, so since we see this slot where, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Since we see the slot where the truck is, and we were told how wide that is, it seems as though it can't be done on William Street, because William Street is also an emergency access street.
No, William Street is what's being used for our emergency service response. That's been verified from our,
Private hospital.
yeah, but all emergency service responders. They have that nominated parking there, which is State Department
We hate
parking.
them.
Yeah, we don't like those people, but that's their parks. And it is like so that's sort of it. The other aspect is if you did, just for instance, if you did do it there, you'd still end up with a lot of this work impeding on the footpath and all this stuff otherwise, because that's the entrance to the side of the building that the guys come through.
Okay, Patrick,
Ramp is.
is that okay? Is that a sufficient answer forever? Or do we still
No.
want to?
No, it's not.
Still want to revisit this?
Yeah.
You wanna, Patrick, you obviously live around there. Do you want to catch up down there and walk through it one day?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, can we make a date? to do
Yeah,
that?
sure, of course.
Okay, so I'm putting at the top here that we will have Zach reach out to all of us and make a date.
Get Zach.
Yeah.
Let me know, I'll be there too.
You need to email Zach to get the information for the 32-foot 5G tower that'll be alongside the building.
Zach, who's that? Oh, sorry.
All right, we have 5 minutes. Any other questions, Sarah? Are you okay with? All good. All good? Thank you. I'll see you. For maybe, I don't think, but we'll talk. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay. I'm calling the meeting.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah, 9/11.
We have 5 minutes. Alex, thank you. We will hear from you. When will we hear from you?
I'll circulate a note back tomorrow for everyone.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's your note? circulating tomorrow.
An email with all the key points.
Thank you.
And then you're gonna email again on Friday to talk about the extension.
Extension.
Yeah, we'll cover up so I got on my list, we want to close out, we got the stop the trucks on gold, we got the after hours extension, we got the window in the fence.
Say, well, your safety people will make a
We
discussion.
got the noise in the morning, have a chat to them, we got some signage for the coffee shop, and we have, Zach's gonna set up a walk with Patrick.
And your
whoever else
32
come
foot
on.
tower that you need to know
A
about. for
32 foot,
5G.
yeah, that's.
And signage for
And so she said.
safety right here.
Oh,
With
yeah,
safety.
yeah, yeah, right.
If we, when we walk, if someone shows us where that tower's gonna go, that'd be good.
Okay.
Patrick might not know.
All right, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone on the committee and to the ownership representative as well.
9/11. Right, we got. So the federal bill for health
Thanks, Alex.
compensation is to last through 2090, but still was underestimated, I guess, in terms of the number of people that were expected to become sick and or die. We're up to 400,000 that are, meet those parameters. And so, every year for the past several years, there's been like a last minute ditch effort to try to raise, quickly $1 billion. And it's been, typically Kirsten Gillibrand, one year specifically, Senator Schumer, that was able to get this money and put it into the budget quickly, find it somewhere else. I think last year they used something that had been allocated to COVID that didn't go toward COVID, but it was eligible to be used for a medical purpose, so it was used for the health program for 9/11 instead. In order to prevent this every year needing to try to go and get money that's to last through 2090, our federal representatives have now,
Oh, that's it.
Oh, they've developed a plan. Bipartisan plan. Garbarino, who's a Republican, Goldman, obviously he's our representative, he's a Democrat, Nadler, Schumer, Gillibrand, a couple of other Republicans advise this plan, whereas, over the next 10 years, they'll be able to fully fund it to the extent that they feel they need to permanently and not have to go back anymore. So each time that we've had to get this money, I've come, we've done a reso in support of the current bill, and that's all I'm back to do again. The new bill is S 4724 HR 9101. It is the 10-year plan to fund.
Okay, so you want a reso?
Yes.
And the reso is for.
What are they cutting out?
I'm sorry.
What are they cutting out? They're not really cutting anything out. We can read the label. No.
I said, we have that much money. Fully fund for 10 years.
It's over a period of 10 years. Moving, it's just like a reallocation, but not a loss of money, like money that's been sitting in other like medical type of funds. That's how Kirsten Gillibrand got that $1 billion last time. Had been already allocated, it was just sitting there, it didn't go toward the use, COVID was over. Good, we need this for 9/11. So now this is doing it in a.
So they're gonna take whatever money they get and put it in a fund that will last 10 years? Or over 10 years?
Over the next 10
accumulate
years,
the money.
this accumulation of money, these new set asides
Right.
will permanently, they believe, permanently and
So
fully.
at the end of 10 years, they'll have enough money.
Through 2090, we won't have to keep doing this anymore.
Only through 2090.
That's how long the program is to last.
Okay.
That's how long the Zadroga bill covers.
Just curiosity, what happens after 2090?
Well, anybody who was born in time to have
All right.
been eligible for
So what do you call it?
Resolution and go.
the resolution in support of the federal bill.
Okay, so basically, we can take the resolution that we've done before and just change it so that it says that over the next 10 years, there will be
Well,
X
it's a
amount of
different
funds
number.
accumulated.
Yeah, we can look up the bill and take whatever information out we want. Yeah.
And so, just based on, you're not on the committee, but everybody else.
We called the question and seconded.
Just based, who called the question and second?
Me.
Called the question second.
Yeah, I call it second.
All right, so all in favor?
Should I vote with the, or wait till the?
Public. You're the public, all right, all right. So everybody here, do I need to, you know who's here, or do I need to?
I do have to tally, but.
Okay, so Morton's here,
Am I?
Yeah. I have John
Have I
Scott.
been here before?
Yes, you have John.
He's a member.
No, I just.
Oh, yeah,
John
I
Scott.
think
is-
everybody knows. the number.
No, I mean, remember this committee.
I don't know if you.
I have Diane is a yes.
Yep.
I have Francis is a yes. I have Jill.
Jared left, right?
Yeah, Jared Levin.
But
Jill is a
the
yes.
chair is ex.
I have Ted member, yes, okay, and we have Brenda. Okay, and I'm a yes. Mariana's a yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh. Is Justine still on the line?
Forgot.
Oh, Elizabeth, yes, right, sorry, Elizabeth. And Eric is gone, he just left.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so we're okay?
Yep.
Okay, we can.
I got it.
Please work on this.
Oh,
Okay.
God, let's go.
Oh, my God, thank you guys for.
Thank you.
We will try not to do this again if we're gonna have.
Next time.
No,
Gender
yeah, we have to do just them because.
And then
Yeah.
it's, on the track.